Hey, deserving listeners, it's time for our third or fourth, maybe our fourth installment of the second campaign of Dungeons & Dragons. And this is a time for us to demonstrate how to use Dungeons & Dragons in a therapeutic manner and to promo our nonprofit called Game to Grow. Adam, why don't you explain what Game to Grow is and where they can go to find you guys?
Thank you, Kirk. Game to Grow is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We're based in the greater Seattle area. What we're most well known for is our therapeutic social skills groups, serving kids, teens, emerging adults using Dungeons & Dragons. We have other groups that use other types of games, but Dungeons & Dragons is our flagship. I'm also happy to announce that as of our most recent games this last week, we now have international players. Where a Game to Grow actually had players from 4 different countries in our last group. So if you are a listener, even if you're not in Washington, you can find out more about our groups at gametogrow.org.
And the group the various different Dungeons & Dragons groups will appeal to people who are wanting to develop self-esteem socially, to develop maybe social skills, and have a glorious, wonderful, fun, bonding time while you do it. And that's what we're going to demonstrate today. All right, take it away, Adam Johns.
Well, as is always the case, I want to start us off with a check-in question to get us rolling, get us warmed up a little bit. Our check-in question for today is, what is your favorite book? And to also answer as your character. And sometimes we restrict this a little bit, and sometimes we go with the flow. Today, I wanna encourage you to speak in your character's voice when you answer as your character, as we're working on trying out character voices and speaking in character timbre, and so I wanna work on that. So really, the book question came about because books are going to be a central part of our plot. So I'm kind of curious what everybody's favorite book is.
Okay. Well, my favorite book is, I'm going to say, The Annotated Hobbit. The Hobbit is a childhood favorite of mine and really began my love of all things fantasy, including Dungeons & Dragons, and is a wonderful book. It has its pros and its cons, but I like the annotated one because the annotated one, which is actually behind me, I don't know if you can see it, but it provides all this background to various passages. It has just as much annotation as J.R.R. Tolkien's, prose or script or text is talking about. And then as my character, you're seeing us do our voices, right?
I would love for you to speak in the first person and do a voice if you can.
So I have to make something up in the Dungeons & Dragons world at this point. So I will say, let's see, there's probably, okay. It was like an old man that I was doing, right? So it was like, well, me as Blazenar Dardragon, an old book that my grandfather gave me that I read passages every night. It is by my bedside. It is a book about. It is called. It is called "The Ways of Business and Much, Much More" by
much more.
Brian Took. The halfling of old. You may have heard of it, but maybe not. And it is every page has wisdom and guidance on how to, shall we say, be convincing of other people.
Very, very good.
I love it. That's perfect. Awesome. Who's next?
I can go. I'll start. I will go first. My favorite book is not even close. It's all of my top 5 is the same book. I came across it in my youth, and I have yet to understand it fully. It is called 207 Ways to Interpret the Valufrey Seal, which is a kind of an erudite topic back from the land I'm from, but few can understand it. Few can understand it as well as I can. I cannot understand it very well at all. So yeah, I am looking forward to the sequel, which is apparently being written, and it's taken 50 years, and it will be. They're adding 2 additional ways to interpret the Valafrey seal.
Bringing it up to 209. That's
correct.
wild.
That is correct.
Yeah, Berto, now do your character.
My character, my Umberto character. So, do graphic novels count?
Yeah. 100%.
Okay, graphic novels count. Then the Sandman series, hands down. It's graphic novel by Neil Gaiman about Dream of the Endless. He is in charge of everyone. Not everyone's just like humans, but every single thing in the universe's dreams. And the whole story starts because he gets imprisoned, sort of on accident, by this mystic, because he's actually trying to capture Death, but instead he accidentally captures Death's brother, Dream. And then the rest of the book, at first he escapes and stuff, and the rest of the book is him trying to reclaim his kingdom and then dealing with a lot of universal level problems. Really great. And then if it weren't a graphic novel, though, I might have to reach all the way back to the Dark Crystal book, which is a book based on the movie, which I always thought it was a book and then it was a movie, but actually it wasn't. They wrote it after the movie, but the book was actually really good. In some ways better than the movie.
I've definitely never read the book. I'm very familiar with the movie, but I didn't realize that they'd written a book. I should totally go read that.
Now, granted, it's much shorter than I remember it because I read it as a kid, and so in my mind, it's like this epic tome. It's not, but it had these amazing descriptions of the Uru people because they had these engravings on their skin that represented melodies and harmonies, and they had these harmonies that were like 11-part harmonies and 20-part harmonies, and their music was so elaborate. And I remember reading this as a kid just in awe, and I wanted to hear their music. And yeah, so that'd be it.
Have you heard the audiobook for The Sandman?
Oh, the new one they put out.
Yeah,
No,
just came out. It's a full radio drama. They have sound effects
heard
and
about
different
it.
actors and stuff. I just started listening to it. It's amazing.
Really?
If
And
you
they
like the
kept
story.
it true? It's like they're just...
I never read the graphic novel, so
Okay.
it's my first exposure to it. But Neil Gaiman is the audiobook reader, and he's the narrator
the
character.
narrator?
I'm
gonna have to
it's
do it.
awesome. Yeah.
So how
check it
far
out.
along are you?
2 hours.
But
I can't.
Okay.
I don't want to. No
Yeah, you don't
spoilers for anybody else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. I'm going to read it. We're going to compare notes.
Yeah, that sounds great.
We'll do like a little podcast about it.
That's perfect.
Right.
For me, but this is a hard question since I've had like different phases and different times in my life. I've had a sort of a book for that phase. The book that came to mind though is A Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. That book is one that I come back to again and again because it's so full of reference material. And I always tell people once they read it, they will realize how often that book is referenced because it's just so good.
Davis, that was my runner-up. I swear to God. I was this close to it. I was like, I got to do it. But then I was like, but the Dark Crystal, I was younger when I read. Oh, such a good book. Such a good book.
It's so good. And it's just got great silly characters, and it's definitely influenced my sense of humor and certainly the way that I game master, because there's characters like Zaphod Beeblebrox, the Pan-Galactic Gargle Blaster. It's just very silly and sort of self-aware. So I really like that book a lot. It's got good characters. The movie was not good, but the book was really good.
Wait, the latest movie, you mean? They made like two or
I actually really enjoyed the movie, and I'm a fan of the books. They're very different, but
I thought they dropped the ball in a number of places that I can't quite recall right now. I just remember the feeling of walking out of the theater feeling disappointed. I couldn't break it down for you why exactly I feel that way at this point, as it's been so long. But I just remember they dropped the ball on Zaphod Beeblebrox. I think he's supposed to have.
He's such a hard character to do well. Yeah,
I know. Well, and for me, Gerkas, my favorite book. I've not read that many books. I spend most of my time working on my body. And my favorite book is A Dragon's Way.
Oh.
It really talks about dragons and our way.
Their way.
Yes, way. Dragon's way.
Girkus, is it like about your
Gerkas.
culture?
That's Gerkas.
Girkus. Is it about your culture?
Yes, and the way to be A dragons.
So it's a
way to
guide,
be.
really.
It's
Does it just
Yes.
have one word that says badass?
aye.
Let me ask you, how many pictures are per page in this book?
There's a great number of pictures in this book, mostly of dragons,
Being badass?
dragons, and their way.
Perfect. Thank you, Garrus.
Now, by the way, if you guys ask me this question in a party, I'll say something like, well, it's a toss-up between Atlas Shrugged and perhaps Crime and Punishment. But some days I go back to Ulysses. These are...
Yeah, I like it. I prefer to read War and Peace. I read it once a week or so. I think that my answer for this is also a really tough question. For a long time, my favorite book was Snow Crash by Neil Stevenson. That was guided me a lot in my teenage years and into the later parts of my life, and it was just such a wonderful fantasy book that I pulled a lot of imagery from. But I think my favorite book now is probably one of the King Killer trilogy by Patrick Rothfuss, Name of the Wind especially. One of the things that Patrick Rothfuss does really amazingly is to describe with words things that you normally need other senses in order to really experience. So he describes music really spectacularly well in the book without ever trying to do lyrics or without ever trying to do like reference a currently existing kind of music. He just uses the description of the way the music makes you feel and the sort of very descriptive words of how the music is to give you an imagery of the music that really makes you feel like you're experiencing the music, even though at no point in time do you ever have any idea what the actual music sounds like, which is just a really cool, talented thing that Patrick Rothfuss is great at doing. He does that for several other things in the book, including he plays a board game like chess called TAK, T-A-K, that he never actually tells you how to play, but gives you the experience of what it's like to play this chess board game. It's very interesting, and he does a really spectacular job at that.
What does this take place? Is it Earth? Is it a fantasy world? Or
It's a fantasy world, and he actually created his own sort of magic system called Sympathy, as well as combining it with the sort of age-old tale of naming, where you can speak the name of something. It's where the book title Name of the Wind comes from, where there were ancient namers who knew the names of things like the wind and could say the name of the wind and control it. And so there's sort of different kinds of magic that exist in the world for this fantasy book. But the main character is both a spellcaster and a musician. And so there's a lot of descriptions of music as well as a lot of really interesting descriptions of magic and things. It's really well done. I highly recommend it. It's a great fantasy book series. The third book is not out yet, and I've been waiting for forever. And I'm sure it will come out eventually. Perfect. Kirk, I realize we never introduced ourselves. Is that an important thing? Should we do that?
This is the Psychology in Seattle podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Kirk Honda. I'm a therapist and a professor, and I am playing a Hobbit halfling by the name of Uncle Blaze, who is a shifty business owner. Who are you, Berto?
My name is Umberto Castaneda, and I play Ulian, who is a tall, blue-skinned dude that he's a magician. He's a wizard. He's a badass wizard, and he's very erudite, very well-read, and loves to find more knowledge in libraries and stuff.
My name is Adam Davis. I am one of the executive directors of Game to Grow, and I am playing Gerkas, the golden dragonborn monk.
My name is... You're very gold.
Yes.
My name is Adam Johns, and I'm the other executive director of Game to Grow, and I am the game master for this. Just a wild bunch of folks that we have here. And with that, why don't we jump into a recap? Kirk, what happened last time in our game of Dungeons and Dragons?
So I was worried you're going to ask me that. I'm looking at my notes and I'm kind of confused. So I'm going to defer to someone else, or even you, Adam, because obviously you know the story better than I do. 'Cause I think I would butcher it, honestly.
So I'll see if I can give a good overview, but we may need to remind ourselves of some details as we go along. All three of you had been invited to a friend's funeral. His name is Thwar. And at Thwar's funeral, you were under attack. You were given a package to all three of you, even though you had never met each other. But all of you knew Thwar, and we had established that. And at Thwar's funeral, you were attacked by some members of the Green Hand, a very famous assassins guild, who attacked you as well as Lily, the woman that is apparently Thwar's daughter, even though you all had never met her before, and maybe you even weren't aware that Thwar had a daughter. But as you questioned her and defeated the opponents that were assailing you, you got a chance to realize that there's maybe a greater mystery going on here than just the death of a friend. And so you started to investigate it. You examined the map, which turned out to be encrypted, and you went back to Thwar's apparent site of his death where he was burned, and you found that there was a secret compartment containing a key to a safe deposit box. And upon going to the bank and finally convincing them, dressing up and convincing them that you were in fact Thwar and can come in and investigate your own safe deposit box, you found a bunch of seemingly random items that didn't seem to be worth much of anything, even though the safe deposit box itself was insured for a tremendous amount of money. Leaving there, you went to your next apparent clue, which was an apartment key with an apartment address. And apparently, Thwar was maintaining a double life in this other apartment. And after making your way inside and figuring out that the walls were covered in a light-up material that lights up when it is dark, you realize there is a giant web of almost conspiracy that is happening within Thwar's investigation. Apparently, Thwar was investigating something called the Book of Fate, something that Ulian is already somewhat familiar with, and in fact, all of you have had some inkling towards or some history of. And discovering that, you discovered a few important details, only to find that the room immediately went up in flames. And you had to escape the room using, strangely, one of the items that was left for you in one of the very random items that was left for you in the safe deposit box. Maybe indicating that you were supposed to come here or find this place. And then escaping downstairs from there, you made your way down.
Don't forget that we, along the way, I found a staff of ultimate destruction and 2 million gold.
Oh, I didn't remember that. That's good. That's good to remember. Other than the part right after that where they were robbed from you.
Oh, right.
And you were beaten and left in that alley. That was really unfortunate. So close, really. That's too bad you didn't use the staff. There were lots of other key moments in all of that, but we kind of pick up there with our storyline. But actually, before we pick up there with our storyline, we're going to do a little bit of a flashback. Each of you has had these experiences with Thwar as a character, and you have had this history with him. Ulian, you had a history with Thwar where you met each other in a library. Is that correct?
That is quite correct, yes.
Ulian, where was the library? Was it in the city here?
Yeah, it was one of the largest libraries in the city. But I prefer this one, in fact, because they have this little area towards the back where old, dusty tomes are kept. And I am left mostly alone when I'm researching in that area.
And how long was it ago? I imagine it was more than a year, maybe several years ago that you were.
I believe it's
doing
been
this
5
research.
years.
5 years. Okay, perfect. And I imagine that you also spent maybe more than one day kind of doing research together with Thwar.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I believe it was off and on. We spent a great deal of time talking over tea, and he had a strange habit of not eating fish, which I found peculiar. scandalous even. And then, I was always a little suspicious that he might be trying to learn secrets that I had been learning. And but over time, he seemed to really provide me with more information than I was, maybe I was providing. So I felt that he was being fair. And, let me tell you, too, about the beautiful nature of the relationship in those moments when we were just sitting there and we would enjoy the taste of the teas, and we would examine each one of the passages. And would you like to hear some of these passages? They would only take me a few hours to recite. Or
Not at
perhaps
this
we could-
time, Uli.
Oh,
That-
okay,
perhaps in the future. For the time being, we will hop backwards in time to a scene where Ulian and Thwar are first meeting each other in the library. Ulian, you have been in the library maybe for several days. I imagine you spend a lot of time in libraries. And you are researching something. What are you researching?
Well, for a long time now, I'd say a couple of decades, I've been interested in something called, by various names, one of them being the Book of Fates. Originally, I came across it because there was an ancient sect of my people that believed in some of these, what I would consider fairy tales mostly, about the ability to control aspects of reality, such as time and what have you. But anyways, I found interest in it from an academic standpoint mostly. I find that a lot of ancient books are filled with mysticism and hearsay. I mostly don't put too much stock in it if it's not real magic that I can perform. Something real, tangible, and obvious, like a fireball in your face, then it's probably made up. But in this case, there was something that gave me pause, because I kept seeing the same types of stories recurring across time in very different tomes from different parts of the world and different cultures. That was intriguing.
Julian, you're coming off of yet another wholly unproductive conversation with one of the librarian staff, who has just been not helpful in finding any real information about the Fates or the Book of Fate. And so you're sort of sitting down with whatever books you managed to gather on your own after the librarian staff was just so unhelpful with it. And a sort of middle-aged halfling man comes walking up to you. Now, I'll remind the listening audience that I did not create Thwar's voice. That Kirk created Thwar's voice in a very, very early wild card throw of jumping in and pretending to be Thwar. So I apologize in advance for what this is about to be. Hello! How are you doing there?
Pardon me, I'm trying to concentrate. Please go to a different section if you might be so good.
My apologies. I couldn't help but overhear everything that you were talking about with the librarian.
Why were you overhearing anything of it?
Well, it happens to be the case that I may be researching something that's somewhat similar to what you're looking into.
Oh, really? And what
Indeed.
might that be?
Well, I heard that you might be interested in the Fates, or Istis, or the Book of Fate.
Who sent you here?
No one sent me. I mean no harm. In fact, I think we may be of use to each other. I too have been researching the same things and have hit a bit of a brick wall, so to speak.
Everyone hits a brick wall. This is beginning to believe it might be pointless. But listen, if you are looking for simple information about this topic, I'm not the right person. You could ask perhaps the librarian, who has been most helpful to me recently.
Ha! You are maybe a great researcher, but a terrible liar. And Thwar takes a stack of 3 books that he has under his arm and sets them on the table, and you don't recognize any of them. And as he sets them down, he says, the first one that I found that I think might be helpful is Baron Walden's work on the subject. I don't know if you've read into it yet. You know, he thinks that he actually found some type of direction or a resting place for the book itself.
Wait. You actually found the passage?
No, I found a passage referencing it. Largely, most of his writing is about himself. He was a little full of himself.
Yes,
but here,
I am aware.
and he opens up the book and scans to a spot, and he says, here he speaks about something that he thought was too powerful, and uses the word fate as a part of it.
Okay, this is true. This is real. I have heard of this as well. You may be onto something.
Now, a little known fact, but the Baron actually was killed deep in his bed. His last journal entry is in fact here. And he flips forward and he says, it's here that he says his one regret was that he didn't spend time with his daughter, which I don't think is actually very helpful. But right below it, he mentions that he had a gift for her and he never got to give it to her.
This is very, very intriguing. Now, what do you make of this statement right below it, this rosebud thing?
I think that it may actually be in reference to a sledding dog that he had.
Very intriguing. Well, I must say this is actually valuable information. I am impressed.
I think there may be an opportunity for us to share some information with each other. This library may be pretty vast, and I think it does in fact have a lot to share if we can just find what we're looking for.
Very well. I will agree to collaborate.
And Thwar holds out his hand to shake yours. And he says, my name is Thwar.
My name is Ulian.
And then he says, do you fancy a bit of tea?
Tea. This is where you grab those little things and you put them in the water and they boil.
And he kind of looks back and forth as if he's looking for the librarian. And then he leans back and he actually lifts up a floorboard. And he reaches down and he's got a little thermos underneath the floorboard. And he sets it on the table and it's got a little pop-off top with 2 cups that kind of come off along with it. And he lowers the floorboard and he goes, one of the things I love about this library is that there are so many nooks and crannies for you to hide stuff. No one would ever find anything here. And then he uncorks the tea and pours you a little bit. And he says, don't tell the librarian. And he winks at you and passes you a cup.
We're not supposed to be eating or drinking in the library.
He says, yes, but fruitful relationships require celebration. And it is really delicious tea.
This is quite delicious tea.
It's like a combination of a honey jasmine with maybe a hint of lemon or something in there that really gives it a tang. Actually, it doesn't.
Do I detect citrica in here? Perchance?
Yes, a good tongue. A little bit of spice, a little bit of citrus really pulls it together.
I must take you to one of the best fish places in the area, and we shall enjoy more tea and copious amounts of fish.
That sounds like a great plan, and a great way to end our day after we go and find some more information.
Very well.
And that's where we'll end our scene. You and Thwar spend some time together, finding more information about the Book of Fates, and you do in fact find out quite a bit about him. And a lot of the story that I shared in the previous podcast about Istis and the 3 Fates are all information that you gather, Ulian, as you're researching the Book of Fates.
Except it got a little awkward when we went to the fish place because he neglected to tell me he didn't eat fish, and then I ordered all this fish, and then I was like, why are you not eating it? And he's like, oh, I'm feeling a little ill now. So I had to eat like double the amount.
You didn't ask him about the Muffin Man.
The Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man.
Not my gumdrop buttons! There you go.
I'm so glad that's
awesome.
canon.
So we join all of you now, sort of having survived this fire, and you're in the area underneath the apartment, literally directly underneath Thwar's Thwar's fake persona apartment that is now up in flames, and you can hear the fire brigade coming and hiking up the stairs and people shouting as they're trying to put out the fire. But you have the opportunity to sort of do whatever you want or go wherever you want. However, Lily turns to you and she looks very shaken up by this whole thing. And actually, I think she'll turn to Blazenar and say, What do you make of all of this? I can't believe my father was living a double life, that he was some conspiracy. I didn't even have a chance to take everything in.
I know this must be hard to see, but I knew Thwar well, and he had a lot of secrets. But know that he was a good man, and if he had secrets, there were reasons. Maybe he was trying to keep you safe.
She looks still shaky. In fact, you can see her hands shaking quite a bit. And she says, I don't know how all of you have stayed calm through all of this. I mean, I want to find out what happened to my father, but I'm not used to being killed by other people or attempting to kill me or being lit on fire in inescapable rooms. This is not the life of a museum curator.
Yet all of these things have happened to you by now, and so you should be used to it.
Huh. Well, I can see it doesn't affect you nearly as much as it affects me.
Well, it affected me in the moment, but we're no longer in the moment, so I see no point in still, pretending we are in the moment. So,
but aren't you terrified? We could have died up there. In fact, it seems wholly improbable, impossible even, that you happen to have the one thing that escapes us from the room.
We have many things that were very likely put there on purpose, and I believe we are now meant to follow some trail. So I don't know. I don't find it that's surprising at all.
How could my father possibly know that you needed to have that door handle in order to investigate this? How could he know that the room was going to set ablaze?
I believe he had some hand in what's transpired.
It is all very confusing to me too. I can't imagine, Ulian, that you have all the answers yet. There's a lot of question marks for sure. If there are question marks in fantasy world, then there are those. But
for sure, I have not the answers beyond this point. But I know that there are questions that will need us to come up with answers.
Yes. So, Ulian, where to next?
It seems like all the evidence burned up in the room upstairs.
Well, I'm sure that there was a backup of evidence somewhere, I hope. We used up the doorknob, is this right? What else have we not used? Where shall we go?
I wrote a list of the things we have.
Yeah, I have the list too. We have tape measure. But quick question. It's just to remember. We are below, and there was nothing, right? It was white walls. And
this is just sort of an empty room. Yeah.
And is it stairs that keep going down, or is there no exit here?
No, it's like he bought the apartment below it, and then made a set of stairs. Yeah, so it's its own apartment.
There's an exit to this apartment.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just the regular door out of the apartment.
Okay. Did anyone get a chance to see what was written on the walls? Because I remember seeing things such as, "Don't trust the Templars of Fate." Do you know what the Templars of Fate are?
I mean, no, not really. Do you know what they are?
I have heard of the term. Yes, they are meant to be protectors of the Book of Fate. They're supposed to be quite a reputable branch, but I don't know much beyond that. They are a very ancient, probably not real sect. That's all I know.
It seems that my father was interested in it, or at least if it said that on the wall, perhaps he believes it to be real. I was only taken in by the large text on the wall saying there are no conspiracies.
Right.
Coincidences.
Yes.
There are no coincidences.
No coincidences. Yes. Your father tended to believe in predestination and such nonsense. But look, if there's one thing I know about the Book of Fate is that there are a lot, basically, for every mystery surrounding its origin and its meaning, there are hundreds of dead ends. So I would just like to prepare ourselves for the possibility that this will lead, in fact, nowhere. With that said, perhaps there is something that didn't burn up. After all, there are things that are immune to fire. Maybe when they are done checking the room upstairs and putting out the flames, we could sneak back up and see if there's anything left over of a hint.
It's hard to imagine anything surviving that fire.
Well, I suppose it's as good a plan as any. I'm not sure I'm cut out for this, though. Perhaps I should go back to work, throw myself into the museum for a little while.
I think your father would like that.
Would you be willing to drop by later? Let me know what you found.
If we have the time. But who knows where the fates will take us. Wink.
She smiles a little at that, and she says, "You know, I appreciate that Thwar knew all of you. It seems a little silly to say, but after not speaking to him for so long, it's nice to have a little bit of connection."
It's good to learn. It's good to learn that you existed.
May I ask you, what do you mean by connection exactly? The fact that we met, or the fact that we had the flames to share, or do you mean?
I suppose
something?
I mean a thread. You know, I lost track of my
I
father and his interests, and
You are
and-
feeling some sort of emotional attachment to us now because of these situations. Okay, very well. I can understand that.
Well,
I
I can
think
see
that-
why Thwar liked you, Julian.
Oh, yes, thank you. Thank you.
Well, awkwardness aside, I think I'll take my leave. Come and see me at the museum when you have a chance. If you come from the back entrance, the guard should let you in. Just let them know that you're looking for me.
That
Will do.
sounds like a plan.
And she steps out of the room and kind of looks down the hallway and makes her way to the stairs, which are being flooded right now with people sort of bucket brigading their way up the stairs. The fire brigade in the city is actually very efficient, and they're doing a great job putting out the fire. And they have a combination of some magical devices that help them with that, but largely just a coordinated effort from a lot of people. So you don't think it'll be very long if you want to go and investigate the room afterwards. You don't think it'll be too long before
Can
you
I
do that.
cast, what is it? Clairvoyance, is it? Oh, I think I'm out of slots for 3rd level today. Detect thoughts is, I don't have any. Like, I'm trying to see if I could cast something to see if they're having any conversations up there, but I don't think I have anything.
I think you could probably overhear it if you went like up the stairs and sort of put your ear to the door.
Okay.
You know, it's mostly sealed and kind of fireproofed, but I think the door and the floor really gives you an opportunity to do that. Although you don't know
Perhaps-
whether or not they're going to find the door in the floor as they're
It has a
as they're putting out the
doorknob
fire.
in it.
It does still have the doorknob in it.
Perhaps we should not be here in case they find the door leading down here. I wonder if we could sneak our way and see if there's any information that we might learn from the folk fighting the fire.
Do we have any other clues as to which way we should be going? It all
Kirkus-
seems like such a mess right now.
Girkus is trying every combination of the items. He's put the sailor hat on his head. He puts the duck on his head. He puts the hat on the duck. He's just sort of iterating to try to see if there's any combination of things that causes any sort of reaction in the environment. It's full-on escape room, duck and hat. No? Okay.
Girkus,
Measure the length of the hat.
Girkus, what on earth are you doing?
There are no coincidences.
Very well. What are you doing? You
All
are
of
putting
these
all these items
Things
on
are here
yourself.
for a purpose.
I don't believe the purpose
It
was
is
for you to
our
wear them.
responsibility to come up with the purpose of these items.
Yes, very well. Okay, look, tape measure. I was hoping we could measure some of these lines that were on the wall. Pocket watch. It doesn't wind. It's got a 246, it reads. That has to have some significance. That might be a code, or it might be a time at which something has to happen. What time is it right now?
Can we
Can
tell
I
the
see
time
by
in this
by
world?
the sun or anything? Run to the window and find out what time it is.
Good.
It's
good
daytime.
Question. I think it's a little past. I think it's a little past noon, but I don't think it's 2:46.
Have we eaten lunch?
No,
Then it is morning.
it's lunchtime.
So perhaps
No, but
something
you
is
are
meant to
hungry.
happen. Perhaps something is meant to happen at 2:46, although who knows what day. Maybe it might be today, and who knows where. The ugly crumpled hat is certainly something for Girkas to wear. I have to agree with that. The yellow duckling that squeaks seems more annoying than anything else. A makeup mirror. Yeah, I must say, I am at a loss for some of these items. However, the hourglass filled with black sand could be interesting. In fact, we could time to see how long it is. That might help us with the other time that we have, the 246. A screwdriver, I don't know. And we know what the apartment key was. That opened up the apartment that burned. We also know what the piece of paper with the insurance policy was. So that leaves us with a few additional items which we do not know their significance.
I'll also point out, just to recap your whole list of items, you also have the map and the original note that was given to you along with the map. And although you don't have it, the ring was also given to you. Well, it wasn't given to you, it was given to Lily, but she has the ring. Just as a
The map.
reminder of items that are there.
Who has the map? I believe I have the map. I pull out the map.
The map is as it was. It is still encrypted. It still has a winding trail that seems to point to maybe landmarks, but it's sort of unclear what the landmarks are without being able to read the script. And the script still appears to be written in a combination of several different languages, as if it was a code.
Right.
And you've been told by Lily that it is apparently a book code.
Does the tape measure? Did we try the tape measure at all? May I see the tape measure?
It is 3.5 feet is as long as the tape measure measures.
Yes, but it appears to have more inside. Like, it gets stuck at 3.5 feet. That could have some significance as well.
What does the note say?
The note.
The note just said,
That was the one that had the number of the
yeah, the safe deposit box and the name of the bank.
and the name of the bank, right?
Yeah. Which was, I'm having trouble finding it.
That's fine. We already
Adam, it
figured
was
it
the
out.
bank from your game.
So,
Oh,
Ulian, can you decipher this map at all? Because obviously, that is, I think, where we should be going.
We might need to look for a book to help us do so. I can't understand it just by looking at it. I do wonder if it looks different in a mirror. Hand me that mirror, please. I'll look at the map in the mirror. Do I notice anything?
Great idea. As you look at the map in the mirror, all of the symbols that appear to be representing letters actually seem to be numbers.
What numbers are they?
Well, in a book cipher, a number refers to the page, the paragraph, and the letter of within the thing. So it'd be like the first page would be 1, the paragraph would be the how many paragraphs down, and then the letter would be the number of characters in from the letter, something like that. So now everything that did look like words now looks like numbers, probably indicating what the book cipher actually has to be.
Ah,
see.
now I'm seeing. We must find Cessinar's 101 Ways to Make Eel. That is our book cipher.
That is our book cipher.
That is a great idea for many reasons. We shall do this. Let's go head to the library then.
I'll give you one last thing with the mirror, which is that everything turns to numbers when you look through the mirror, except for 4 letters, which are all written in different languages. And I'll toss you, because you had used comprehend languages before. I'll give you a free one on comprehend languages on this. The 4 letters, once you use comprehend languages, are toes.
Like toes as in foot
T-O-E-S.
toes?
Yeah.
Okay. This says toes.
Well, I hope someone's not going to have to sacrifice any toes, because I like mine. They're hairy, but they're good.
Toes.
So, off to the library, eh? And learning how to make eel. What do you say, the two of you? Who wants to learn how to make eel?
I know how to make eel. I would love a refresher on new recipes, but I haven't a feeling that if we could maybe we could come back later and see if there was anything left over in the fire.
Maybe, but I think we're on a hot trail for
All right.
eel and map.
Let's do it.
You make your way over to the library. Uli, and I'm assuming that you take them to the best library, which is the one that you used to do all of your research in. It is the largest library. It's actually a part of the school, one of the magic schools here. This particular library is well known throughout a lot of the world, a lot of the land that you're in, whose name I had forgotten.
The name of the town?
The name of Retkra, the name of the continent.
Oh, Kingdom of
Retkra.
Retkra.
So this library is actually really well known for being one of the most extensive libraries, especially for old books. And that was one of the things that appealed to Ulian in the first place about investigating this library. As you make your way over there, it is sort of across town, so it is close to the evening by the time you manage to get over there. Yerkas, I imagine you stop for some food on the way.
Yes.
What would you get?
I would get some street meat.
More street meat? I assume
More
not snakes this time.
Not snakes. I've had snakes. I'm on a journey of new experiences.
Gerkas, I assume you would love to go back to the snake place.
The snakes were fine. I'm interested in trying new and exotic things from your land.
Very well. Let's see if we can find some.
Well,
Ulian, you
the
you're
halfling
very
is always
familiar with the
hungry,
town.
so let's go.
You're very familiar with the town. What would you want to pick out?
Oh, we go to this little place that has, it's actually like, it doesn't look good. Because on the outside, they're actually they don't sell food on the outside, they sell used clothing. And it's like used, like very used clothing, like adventurers used it. So it's like really smelly and like, I don't think they've washed it, but they're selling it.
I like this place.
And then they're through the like little clothes on hooks and things, you can kind of slink your way in, which is hard for me because I'm a little tall. And they have just a little fry cook sitting there frying stuff up and almost catching fire. Like the clothes are constantly almost catching fire.
How authentic.
And it's super oily looking and very like smoky and all these things. But I guarantee the taste makes up for the squalor.
I like the idea that the fry cook is a small race, like a gnome, maybe, that's been cooking up a storm. Oh, maybe like a goblin or a kobold or something like that. Who's cooking up a storm in there and watching you big folk come your way into the thing. All the chairs are much better sized for you, Blazenar, and they don't really fit Ulian and
We're
Gerkas
crouching,
much. Yeah. It's delicious. He cooks up a really, really good fried rat. He says the secret is you got to get it so that the rat tail is really stiff. And that way you can use that as the way to
It's
to
like
fry
a
them.
built-in stick.
Yeah. That's how you really get it going. You walk
Strange
I
cultures in
didn't-
your land, Ulian.
Yes, at first I didn't dare to imagine eating it, but once I had a taste, I come here often.
It is very good. With stomachs full of delicious fried rat, you are able to make your way over to the library. This library is very old. As I said, it's actually run by the school, by one of the magic schools here in town. And as you make your way up towards the library, you realize it's getting close to the evening, and you're probably towards the end of the library being open. This is probably the tail end, like you've got another 15 minutes or 20 minutes or something like that of the library being open. As you make your way in, you're all greeted with a pretty strange sight. Ulian, you're used to this, but Girkas and Blazenar, you can see that the head librarian who's sort of sitting at the front desk is a Medusa. Full on, she has snakes for hair. She has a full snake tail. She is sitting there in classic librarian button-up clothing and glasses that she has on, and she's sort of looking down at the books and stamping books as you walk up toward her.
Do I know her name? I'm assuming.
Yeah, I think you do. I want to say. Oh, actually, Kirk, do we have any listener names?
No, not off the top of my head.
Okay.
I mean, I can make one up. I mean, I know a lot of listeners.
No, we'll do a. Oh, actually, I have a good name for it. Marion.
Marion.
You know that her name is Marion.
So as we're walking up, I say, Marion, your hair looks delicious as always.
She looks up over her like glasses, kind of sitting on her nose. She looks up at you and then she rolls her eyes at you. She's had lots of interactions with you, Ulian, and she says, "Ulian, if you're going to make another stack of books at the end of the table, I would appreciate it if you would at least put them on the return cart."
Oh, yes, of course. I believe I always do.
She rolls her eyes again, and she says, "What can I help you with? The library is only open for another 15 or 20 minutes."
I'm
We'll say 20
shielding.
minutes.
Blazenar is shielding his eyes with his cloak. He's looking down at the ground.
This is not a problem. We just need a book about eel recipes. What is the name of it again?
Sentinars 121.
Sensenar's 121 eel recipes?
Yes.
Haven't you checked that one out already?
Not that one. No, I don't believe so.
Oh.
Did I? Maybe I did. I've checked a lot of books out.
She turns and she pulls out a catalog, and she flips through it, and she as she does so she pulls up a card and then she says, "I'm sorry, but it's been checked out."
To me?
No. To somebody named Thwar.
Of course.
But he is overdue. He checked it out 5 years ago. His overdue fees will be tremendous. If you know him, I suggest that you encourage him to return the books so that he can avoid the overdraft fees.
Yes, very well.
So, out of game, in my notes I have book name. Does that mean that I saw a book in the apartment? Or that I saw a...
That you saw this book in the apartment?
Yeah.
No, you did not see this book in the
I
apartment.
just saw, like, the name of a book written on the side of the wall. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, very well. So now we need to... Oh, thank you very much. You've been very helpful.
When did he check it out, ma'am?
5 years ago. And also, that's privileged information.
Yes, we had
I
not
shouldn't have
heard.
told you that at all.
Yes.
I'm not allowed to tell you the checkout policies of other people.
Yes. Again, thank you for your help. And this was the only copy you possess?
Yes. It wasn't a very popular book.
Very well.
Not many people like eel.
Oh, what is that supposed to mean?
She kind of rolls her eyes and then she leans forward towards you and she says, "They look like snakes." And all of her snake hair all turn towards you and hiss at you all at once.
I run out of the room.
I inappropriately, Ulian inappropriately licks his lips when he sees the snakes all staring at him. And then runs out of the room as well.
Is that sexual? What's happening?
No,
she
he
leans
loves
back.
snakes. That's his favorite food.
She leans back and she continues stamping and she says, I'll remind you that it's quiet in the library unless you want to become an exhibit.
Yes, very well. We are leaving.
Do you want to still look in the library? You actually know where the book would be if it was available.
Yeah, actually. Okay, so hold on, Blazenar. Give me 5 minutes. There is a chance perhaps he did bring it back. And listen, she is getting on in years, and perhaps she doesn't keep the best records sometimes. After all, she believes I don't stack my books properly and whatnot, which is preposterous. So, please, give me 5 minutes. So
Okay.
I dash in and go and try to find the book.
Perfect. Go ahead and roll me an investigation check. And what are the two of you doing while this is going on? Are you waiting outside the library?
Yes.
Or,
I
or do you want to? There's lots of rooms in the library, so you could have
I
run
want to be
away
outside.
from.
I don't want to be anywhere near that Medusa. That's crazy talk.
Okay.
20. Not natural, but 20.
Awesome. You managed to find your way towards the section of the library with this recipe book. Can you give me the name of the book again? I need to write it down.
Cessinar's 101 Ways to Make Eel.
You managed to find the cooking location in the library that has this where the book is supposed to be. And as you're scanning through the shelves and kind of looking over everything Ulian, you do in fact find a blank spot where this book should be filed. The book is indeed missing, but something catches your eye. With your 20, you notice that there are statues throughout the library. There's actually a lot of stories about the statues throughout the library. That many of them used to be librarian patrons, and until the head librarian got upset with them. For being too loud or for bringing in food and drink. There's
So
statues.
they really were patrons of the... Oh my God.
Supposedly. That's all rumors.
I
Nobody's
see.
ever like tried to bring that to the head librarian and really ask. But you've heard all those same rumors just like everyone else has. But the statue here is not a person, but is in fact a strange statue of a duck kind of up on a pedestal.
Oh. Interesting. And is it small statue or a big statue? Like something I could grab?
It's pretty large actually. I would say it's like 2 or 3 times the size of an actual duck. Like somebody's carved like a really gigantic duck statue.
Interesting. Huh. Okay. But they're almost closed, right?
They are almost closed.
Okay.
While
So
this is going on, I'm gonna have Gerkas and Blazenar both roll me perception checks.
Gerkas is in the travel section of the library.
Oh, okay. Gerkas, you're checking out some travel guides.
Looking at picture books and maps. Like those kinds of travel books that really don't say a lot. They just have like pictures of landscapes and
Yeah.
make you want to go places. Yeah, those are the books he's looking at.
Things I could burn.
What was that check? A perception check?
Actually, since you are in the travel book section, why don't you roll me an investigation check, and Blazenar, you roll me a perception check.
I got a 16.
My investigation is -1 and my perception is +5. I got a 6.
A 6. Gerkas, what do you find in the travel section that looks interesting to you?
I actually find I don't find the book about 121 ways to make eel, but I do find a book about different like excursions you can go on eel fishing expeditions.
I love it. Some beautiful looking lakes from the drawings that they have there. Awesome. Blazenar, as you are outside, you see that there are several people all coming into the library. Most of the people are sort of leaving the library and you're sort of waiting outside. But there are several people that are coming into the library that are stepping in, and they're wearing kind of long robes, and they all look like they're wearing matching robes. They kind of look like priests, maybe. And as they're coming into the library, they're all wearing matching stuff. But the thing that really sets you off and makes you a little bit suspicious is both they're coming in at the end of the day, and they are wearing clearly wearing. You hear the chink of chainmail underneath their robes.
It's a trap.
It's a trap.
I try. Can I do a, I don't know, another investigation check to see if I can detect if they're trying to hide something or if they're trying to act natural?
Sure. Give me an insight check for that.
7.
A 7. Okay. You can't really tell. You can tell they know each other. They're walking like close enough to each other that
But I
clearly
definitely
they're
heard
traveling
armor,
together.
and it's definitely under a robe.
Yeah, I mean, you heard something, and they're clearly wearing robes on top of it. It's not uncommon for like clerics to wear chainmail while they're out adventuring and wear robes on top of it.
But we also know that this is a very dangerous situation we've found ourselves in.
So if this were just a regular ordinary day, and you were walking around and you saw some people dressed, priests that happen to be wearing chainmail under their armor, you might not think anything of it. But given the circumstances and some of the strange stuff that's been going on, it gives you a little pause.
Okay, I want to do. I think I have this thing where I can do Mage Hand from afar, and right, I can do Mage Hand. I'm looking at Mage Hand Ledger Domain. How do you pronounce that? Ledger Domain, is that how you pronounce it? When you cast Mage Hand, you can Spectre Hand Invisible and use to do things, and so sleight of hand. I want to. So it's essentially my hand as a far, and it's a cantrip, and I want to cause the robe to either fall off or like be billowed out, so I can sort of see what's going on underneath.
You got to pull up the back of the robe or something, and
Yeah. Well, my hope, I want to see, but I also, two birds with one stone. I want them to be derobed, so I see how they react. Because if they react like they try to cover themselves up, then I'll know that they're trying to hide something. So I don't know.
Gotcha. I think if you want to do it subtly in a way where they like don't know that somebody did that to them, you won't be able to like fully derobe them. But I think you could totally like make it billow up suddenly and get a glimpse for what's underneath, and see how they react to that at least.
Okay, I'll do that. So the lead one walking in the front, I'll have it billow up, and the other guys can see it billowing.
The lead one walking up in the front, the robe sort of billows up, and you get a glimpse of very shiny, very well maintained full plate mail. So he's not wearing chain; he's wearing full plate, which isn't making the same noises, probably because it's so well maintained. And so and you get a glimpse of some of the symbols that are sort of etched into parts of the full plate mail and the coloring on it. And they are the same symbol of Istis that you remember seeing on the key that was once in your warehouse that was stolen.
Oh. So they are of the Book of Fate, perhaps the Templars of Fate.
There is some indication of that.
Okay.
While this is going on,
Okay.
Julian.
Yes. Okay, so I think what I'm gonna do, because when I see the duck statue, I start thinking, oh, wait a minute, we have a yellow duckling, and we have this statue, and then I start thinking, oh, maybe there's something here, maybe there's something hidden in the statue. So I want to go back and get the guys and tell them, hey, I think we gotta like sneak in here when they close, or stay behind. Maybe I can hide myself or whatever. In fact, yeah, maybe that's what I do. I wanna make myself invisible. Is that what I have? Disguise self? No.
So this is the same day. Everything
This is all
Invisibility.
the same day.
we haven't
It
rested.
was a
yet.
long day.
Yeah. So I can do invisibility. I can cast invisibility, which is I have 2 second level slots left. Right? And I can do it on myself, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I
But
wanna
think
do
you
that.
You have to touch yourself, Umberto.
Oh, I'm going to have to touch myself. Okay.
Yeah.
So I ask everyone around me to turn around, and then I'm going to do this. Because then I'm going to go and like find these guys and be like, hey, psst, don't freak out. It's me. I'm Ulian, blah, blah, blah. But because my plan is I want to stay behind while they close. Now, I don't know about these other guys and stuff like that, but my plan is I want to stay behind because I'm going to try to like see what's up with this statue. Now, can I cast invisibility on the three of us? No, because they're not around me. So I'm just going to cast myself invisible.
You can only have one target invisible at a time.
Okay.
Although,
so I'm going to touch myself, cast invisible, and then go try to find these guys.
Oh, I apologize. If you use the spell slot of 3rd level or higher, you can target an additional creature for each spell slot above 2nd level.
I don't have any 3rd level slots left right now.
Gotcha. So you're going to make your way outside and find... you find...
But I'm going to turn invisible first.
You're going to turn invisible first before going outside.
Yeah.
Okay. It lasts up to an hour, so you can totally do that. And you can talk while you're invisible without breaking the invisibility. But if you try to cast a spell or if you take any damage while you're invisible, then it'll undo the invisibility, just so you know.
Okay. So
or
I
you
cast
make an attack,
invisibility, which is like I do this thing with my hands where I grab my hands, lift them up, and then lower both of them down together right below my belt. And I go, disappear. And then I'm invisible.
Awesome. And then you vanish from sight.
Yes.
You are indeed invisible.
Okay, and then I'm gonna go try to find them. I'm assuming they're just outside, like where I left them.
Gyarkos, you haven't had a whole lot of luck with your eel expedition, and so you've managed to find some really spectacular eel fishing spots. But what do you want to do from there? Are you going to also head back outside, or are you going to go looking for Ulian?
I'll look for Ulian because I know that Uncle Blaze is outside, and I know that Ulian is in the library somewhere, so I'm going to go looking for him.
Okay.
Are we going to intersect?
You do not intersect. Ulian, you make your way outside, and you find Uncle Blaze, who is hanging out outside. Uncle Blaze, the people, maybe the Templars of Fate, made their way inside toward the front desk, and sort of looking at each other. They don't really talk to Marion. Instead, they kind of look at each other and seem to whisper something to each other, and then they start marching off into a different direction of the library. But Ulian, you're making your way back outside. You also don't see these Templars of Fate as you make their way, as you're sort of passing from different passages throughout the library. It's a large enough library that it's very easy to not see.
And Blazenar doesn't see me approaching.
Yeah, I'm worried
Correct.
about my compatriots. So I cast cantrip Minor Illusion, which I can make a sound, and I do it 30 feet into the library, like away from me. I'm sort of like outside the library, casting inside. And I say, what do I say? Looking at my notes here.
Look, it's the Beatles.
I say in a voice that's not mine, I say, "It's time to make eel later."
Is it pretty loud?
Yeah, I say it pretty loud, like as if some random person in the library just
Got really loud.
Yeah, just said the statements like randomly in the corner.
The four priests all turn and face the loud sound that just came from that direction, and you watch as the librarian and all of her hair all turn and hiss as she shushes in that direction, and they all the four people all sort of look very confused, but then kind of turn and keep walking the other way. Ulian, this happens like right as you are coming into the area, so you miss the four Templars, but you hear the noise.
But I hear the thing,
and then you walk into
and
the area.
I can see Blazenar.
Yes, you can see Blazenar's hanging out outside.
So I can see that he's casting this, presumably, and I'm like, right?
I think you can put it together, yeah.
So I think I probably all of a sudden think, what's going on? Because so I kind of rush up to him and I'm like, Blazenar, don't freak out.
Jesus
But it is
Christ!
me. But it's calm
By
down.
the gods!
I'm invisible. It's
Never,
Ulian.
never
Sneak up on an old man. Never sneak up on an old man.
Apologies.
God,
You
what?
look much younger than your ears. But listen, I found a large duck thing. But what's happening out here? Why did you make that sound?
The Templars of Fate have found us. We must leave immediately. Did you find the book?
We can't leave. The book is. I have a feeling either the book or something is in a duck statue.
They have gleaming armor, and they look powerful. We should go.
What if I go and try to move the statue? It's very large.
The
though.
statue will be here tomorrow.
But they might take whatever was
where-
in the statue.
Find the dragon man and let's go.
Very well. Okay, so at this point, I rush back in, trying to find Gerkus.
Girkus.
Girkus.
Gerkus.
Girkus,
Girkus.
you are wandering through the sort of halls of the whole library.
It's a gigantic library, you said. So this was a foolish thing for us to do to not have like a meetup spot.
Oh, yeah.
Lesson learned. This is like going to
Let's
Disneyland.
split up
like,
and see what happens.
yeah.
You guys needed to bring your walkie-talkies.
The
for this.
classic
Julian.
Scooby-Doo strategy.
So Gerkus, you're sort of going through, and you tried shouting Ulian once or twice, only to be met with fearsome hisses and shushes from the librarian.
Do I hear
And
the shouts?
Yeah, I think you do.
Right.
I mean, Gerkus
Okay.
actually isn't far off from the
Okay.
section that
But
you.
Girkus would have
were
heard
in.
my signal. I mean, did he make anything of it?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Gerkus would have heard that. But I think he made his way back, further back in the library. So Gerkus, you hear the sound of somebody shouting, and you can start
time
making
to
your
make
way
heal later.
toward that direction as well.
All right. I'm still gonna try to keep my eye out for Ulian as I walk towards the front because I don't know that he's also leaving. So I'll keep my eye out for Ulian as I'm looking around. So I'm like my keen eyes looking around the library.
You do, in fact, also go ahead and roll me a perception check.
Now we're talking.
And while you're perceiving, you do in fact notice these priests that seem to be headed sort of facing you, and they sort of watch you as you're walking by, and they're wearing robes that cover their heads. You can kind of see their faces, but it's under shadow. But they're definitely like watching you as you walk by, and you can see some of them are like interested in you by the looks on their faces.
I'll kind of flex my muscles a little bit as I walk past them. Remember, I tore my sleeves off, so I'm showing them the biceps. Walking past. I got a 14 on my perception check.
Okay. I think that's good enough. Gerkus, you spent a whole bunch of time fiddling with the items. I think you also see the duck statue as you're walking past. It's down one of the hallways filled with books and sort of at a dead end of bookshelves. But you see that as you're walking
Do you know
by.
who has the items?
You have the items because you gave me when I asked for I have the map, but you had the rest of the items because you were like fiddling with them. And then when I asked for the whatever it was I asked for earlier, you gave it to me.
Squeak, 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 squeak.
Do you squeak the duck?
I'm gonna squeak the duck at the duck statue. This is, it's 1-to-1. Duck plus duck equals 2 ducks.
At this point, the four people have already walked past, and you go down the hallway and you squeak the duck at the duck statue, and you're give me a squeak, Adam. And the duck statue, really surprisingly, squeaks back.
Oh, I'm reminded of Deliverance.
Oh no!
If only I was still playing a bard, I'd play the banjo for you.
Am I catching up with him yet?
You're headed in that direction. The librarian says 2 minutes to close, Ulian.
But she doesn't see me.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah.
She can't see you. You're totally invisible. You're making your way back towards where you heard Gerkus shouting your name. Blazenar, are you still waiting outside?
Yeah, I say, Ulian, go find the dragon man.
Ulian's not there anymore. You're just
I know,
talking
no,
about
no,
it.
he doesn't know.
But he didn't tell me he left.
He doesn't know.
We never communicated, so I'm still talking to the air.
It's perfect. I imagine you're like having like a long conversation with Ulian.
I open up to him
You left
for the
yet?
first time.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're a really good listener.
You're not so stuck up when you're listening.
Yeah.
Okay, so okay.
Girkus, there was one fewer squeak than the number of squeaks that you did. So you did 4. It did 3.
I will squeak for 2 minutes and 46 seconds.
You're just standing there,
Yeah.
squeaking the thing.
Try me.
The
Intelligence is not my strong suit.
The instant that you squeak more than 2 or 3 times, it starts squeaking back at you at a very similar rate of squeaking. So now it's just you squeaking at this duck statue while the duck statue is squeaking back at you. For
Have I arrived yet?
incessantly long time.
I
Yes,
must
Uli and you
Hammer the
are,
rock.
are coming in. The squeaks are
dragon's
quiet
Girkus!
enough that
Girkus!
it doesn't seem to bother the librarian.
Girkus, it's Ulian. I'm
Girkus.
invisible. Girkus.
Girkus.
Listen, we will get your name correct later. I'm invisible. I'm standing next to you. You need to stop with the stupid squeaking.
I
There are
figured it
bad-
out.
This
I
is
squeak,
brilliant.
it squeaks.
You are
I'm
brilliant. But listen to me. There are
30
bad...
seconds in. I've got 2 minutes and
Oh my goodness.
16
I might
seconds
just
left.
leave you here. There are bad men here with full plate armor. They're after something. Probably this, probably us. We need to go now. But wait a minute. What did you just say? It squeaked back?
Yes.
You can hear it. He's still squeaking.
Oh. wait,
You can
stop.
hear the duck
stop.
statue is squeaking
Stop.
back at you.
Stop.
The duck statue squeaks just a couple extra times after Girkus
Right.
stops.
Right.
Now I have to start over. Squeak, 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 squeak.
Okay.
About 2 or 3 squeaks in,
can
the duck
we-
statue joins in with the squeaking.
So let me ask you, is this... Okay, I knock on the thing really quickly. I want to hear to see if it's hollow.
Oh, the duck statue?
The statue, yes.
Yeah, interesting question. You knock at several places around. The duck statue is actually on like a big stone pedestal. And so you knock on the duck statue, it definitely seems like it's made of solid stone. But the pedestal sounds like it may be hollow, although surrounded by like a whole lot of stone. Like it's clearly stone, but it sounds like it may be
Girkus, Girkus. Would you
That was
mind
good. Girkus.
breaking... Oh, thank you. Breaking this... There's something in there. And I point to the place that sounded hollow.
You're invisible. He can't see you point.
I know.
Where,
I know.
Julian?
Right there. Just right there.
The duck statue?
No. Oh, right. Here, give me your hand. And I grab his hand and I point it at where I'm pointing.
It is right near the front of the duck's feet. Is like right at the very top of the pedestal, right at the duck's feet.
I am new to this land, but I think destroying this statue may get us kicked out of this library.
We're gonna get kicked out anyways, or murdered. Or worse. Just hit it.
All right. Full
Girkus,
on.
give me an attack roll.
Full on punch, just one handed, full reel back, get the hips into it, get the shoulders into it, jab down at this really nice punch. I got an 18.
Awesome. With an 18, you punch and you hit stone, followed by wood planks that cripple under your blow. And you have punched a hole sort of right underneath the duck's feet. The duck's feet kind of webbing right over the edge of the pedestal, and you've punched a hole right underneath there. And there is no mistaking that sound. It is a smashing sound that echoes through the library. And the librarian actually stands up this time and shushes. And there's a hissing shush that also fills the library with an equally loud hissing shush noise. And she looks very angry. But she waits a minute. And then sits back down after there doesn't seem to be any following up noise. However, Blazenar, you definitely hear this noise.
And
I try to sneak my way from the side towards where the noise is. I try to stealth my way.
As you pass by the librarian, she says, 1 minute till close. She doesn't even look at you. She just says, 1 minute till close.
I'm trying to hide in case the Templar come around the corner.
Totally. Go ahead and give me a stealth check.
16 or 19.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
Do we see anything in the hole?
Yes. Ulian and Gerkas, as you've punched a hole in this, you find two things. The first one is a book. It is, in fact, the book that you thought it would be, which is Cessinar's 101 Ways to Make Eel. And you find a second book. The second book is called The Key to Mastering Poetry.
Okay, so one quick thing. As we're reaching in for the books, Gurkas's hand is in there, but my hand's reaching in too. All of a sudden, Gurkas, you feel a little
Gerkas.
Gerkas. You feel a little like wet, like spot, like something fall on your arm, like it's raining or something.
Ew.
And I'm like, no, apologies. I just can't wait to try these recipes.
I mean, you really just have to pick the lesser of several evils as to what that fluid was.
I think I need some personal space, Julian.
Yeah. Do they have Purell back then?
We are too close.
He just drooled a little bit.
This makes me uncomfortable.
All right.
Blazenar, as you're sort of nearing the area where they are at, you are keeping your distance, kind of going around the outside, but you can see that the two of them are standing around the statue and the pedestal, and they seem to be reaching into a hole that they've clearly made. But
I don't see the invisible Ulian, right?
Oh, I guess that's true. You see Gerkas.
You see Gerkas with a look on his face because he just got obviously drooled on by an invisible man.
Yeah.
But you also
I see Gerkas disinfecting his arm with his own dragon breath.
You also see the four priests who are surrounding the outside of that bookshelf. So it's sort of a long, narrow bookshelf, dead-ending against a wall, and they're at the very end of the dead end, which is where the statue is. But the priests are all sort of gathering around the outside of the bookshelf, and they're all motioning to each other quietly. But you are outside of all of that, so you can see this from further away. You can see what's happening.
Right.
But Gerkas and if Ulian is there but invisible, you suspect they probably don't know. They wouldn't be able to see the priest from where they are.
So I cast Friends, which is another cantrip, at one creature of your choice at the the closest robed fella to me.
Okay.
And
what does Friends do?
Just gives me advantage on charisma checks.
Oh, okay.
There's no save.
Cool.
When the spell ends, the creature realizes that you used the and will become hostile towards you, but they're going to be hostile anyway. And so I cast, and then I say. So remind me, what would my character know about the Templars of Fate?
You know only what I guess Ulian has told you.
Yeah, that they
which
were
is that
mythical protectors of the book. They might not really exist, but they're from a long time ago, and yeah.
Okay.
From what you understand, they protected the books. They're followers of Istis, but they're a specific sort of subset that was the secret organization that was dedicated to protecting the book or returning the book. Their goal is a little unclear. What with them being a secret organization.
Okay. I cast it on that guy, and then I say, I say to him through a deception check. I say, I kind of walk up to him and tap him on his waist because he's so tall, and I say, sir, I believe that some scary, suspicious-looking men just ran out of the library with the Book of Fate.
That's bold.
So I get
Bold, yeah. Go ahead, give me that deception check with advantage, I guess, right?
24.
Oh, wow.
Alrighty. All right. The one that you've tapped on the shoulder turns around to you and looks very confused. I really don't know how to respond to this. Looks very confused, and then whispers, "Thank you for your help, old man. You should get out of here before things get nasty." And then nods to one of the other people, and they two of them take off out of the library.
Okay.
Nice.
At a run, although a surprisingly quiet run, especially given that you know that they're wearing heavy armor.
Okay. So I turn around. I follow his direction. I feign obedience, and I run around the aisle, but I come back on the other side of the book aisle. But I'm trying to hide as I'm doing that.
Did we hear this? I'm assuming. Did we see this or hear this?
Yeah, I tried to say it loudly.
Yeah, I think so. So you heard a voice.
So now we have like these books in our hands. We have these books in our hands, and we're like, oh, right? Because like we see him, and we see him like telling them.
He was outside of the.
You couldn't see us from where you were.
We just heard.
Yeah, but you definitely heard it. Yeah.
Okay. Gerkus is now going to turn to Ulian and say, "The time for making eel is later."
Oh, question. Oh, thank you. Quick question. Does invisibility work? Like if I grab the books and put them inside my cloak, are they invisible?
The rule that I usually do for invisibility is actually that the invisibility only affects the things that you grab when you are invisible.
Oh, okay.
So if you grab something new, it doesn't suddenly become invisible.
Right,
if you eat something, you can see it like being digested as it goes down.
Oh,
I think I assume that if you put it in your body, it might also become invisible. Well, no,
Quickly,
yeah, maybe
Ulian, eat
maybe
these books.
if you eat something while you're invisible, you also Invisible Man style can see it. Why not?
I suppose I would know this. I would know that that's how it works. So I wouldn't. Okay. Fine.
Yeah, I think you.
So
I think you.
I
would
don't
know.
try that. So I'm like, fine. I'm like, so it's more like, Gerkus, we need to leave now.
Yes.
So we grab the books and head in the direction we heard the.
Perfect. As
voice.
Gerkus, as you step out past the edge of the book hallway, the bookshelves, a voice rings out that says, "Drop the books and drop the map. We've no quarrel with you, but the book belongs back in its owner's hands."
Oh, sorry.
And there is a tall figure standing to your left.
Sorry, one quick thing. Since I did know that the whole thing about I'm still invisible, but the books aren't, I actually handed the book to Gerkus because obviously a floating book would give me away.
Oh yeah, okay, that makes sense.
So I handed my
assume.
book to Gerkus. So I'm standing there still invisible.
Okay, perfect. So Gerkus, you have both books.
Both books. These guys want to talk. I don't want to talk to them. I'd like to get out of here.
He's got his hand on a sword for sure.
Is he blocking my path?
No, he's standing to your left. And there's another person who you now notice is standing to your right. Who doesn't have their hand on a sword, but they're flanking you basically.
I would like to continue walking towards the library exit. I will
He
not
just
be
says-
intimidated.
He says, "I am not here to intimidate you. I'm here to stop you."
Good. I am not intimidated, and I won't be stopped.
Can
Perfect.
I can cast something, right? And they won't know because I'm invisible.
That is correct.
Okay.
And so the figure that's not got a hand on a sword starts casting a spell. And it's clear that they are looking towards Gerkus with it. Blazenar,
Okay, so-
I let you keep your stealth. I just used your stealth check that you made from before. So you are hidden and close by at this point.
I want to grab the guy's sword. Wait, what do I want to do? Do I know? I mean, I'm a spellcaster. Do I know? Can I ruin his spell by like grabbing his arm in the middle of him casting a spell?
Yeah, maybe like grapple him. I think that makes sense to me. Yeah, I like that idea. So you could do that
From the shadows, I jump out.
From
and
the
grab his
shadows,
arm.
yeah.
I wait for halfway through the spell and just grab him.
Okay, and then Ulian, what were you planning on doing?
Well, I was
think
going to
Ulian,
levitate.
You can't see Blazenar, and Blazenar can't
No,
see you.
I know.
So-
I know. But I see the guy trying to cast, right?
Yes.
Now, do I have any way to tell risk level from this caster, or really like?
You can try to identify the spell that they're casting.
But that'll take a time. But
No, that
I-
won't take an action. That's
Oh,
just your
okay.
knowledge of spells. So you can.
Okay. So I want to try to identify the spell because what I want to see. I'm going to levitate one of the two. Mm-hmm. So
Okay.
I want to.
Yeah.
I want to quickly
so just
assess
roll
which-
me an Arcana check. This is basically just. Essentially, you know what kinds of hand movements and what kinds of words somebody would say
25.
to cast different spells. Okay, awesome. You can tell they are casting the spell Hold Person.
Hold person. Oh, that's
Yeah.
not that dangerous. But
It
it'll get him
won't.
stuck,
It won't
right?
kill Gierkas, but it will stop him in his tracks for sure.
And he can't attack.
Right.
While he is held, he would not be able to attack. Yeah.
That's pretty bad.
Or move.
Still,
or speak.
Still, though, like I'm really afraid of the sword, so I could fight the magic. So, I'm like, I want to levitate the sword dude. Just get him out of the combat.
Okay. I'm gonna
So
look up the rules for levitate too.
I have one slot left for second level, so I'm going to use that one.
Awesome. So he's going to get a save, and of course this will make you visible again.
Oh, yeah, this was I had cast this one, so I'm going to cast this one.
Okay, interesting. I'm going to roll his. I lost my dice.
Before we find out, let's take a break, and when we get back, let's find out what happens.
Yeah.
And we're back from the break. All right. What
Awesome.
happens?
So we're sort of-
Levitation attempt.
We're sort of resolving several things at once. So we know what Ulian is doing, and we know what Blazenar is doing. And Gierkas, it sounds like you're just storming your way out. You're just planning to walk right past these guys.
Oh, I'm flexing. I'm just like, will not be. I can put up a
full-
hand. Like,
Talk to the hand.
Talk to the claw.
Not even gonna do this.
Yeah.
Cool.
Talk to the laser.
will not be intimidated by you.
Then we'll go ahead and make the necessary checks, and then we'll roll initiative because that's clearly going to start the combat. So Blazenar, you're going to make me a grapple check, and I'll allow you to do it. You can do it with advantage because you are hidden, and I'll allow you to do it using your dexterity instead of your strength if you'd like to do so.
Okay. So it's just my
Because you're really
dex-
just trying to grab their hands.
just a dex
It's
check
like
or
a-
something?
Yeah, it's like an unarmed strike.
So
you can,
dex plus my proficiency, right?
yeah.
Okay.
And then-
24.
Okay, perfect. That is a great one.
Nice.
And then Ulian, what is your saving throw DC for your spells? Because now
15.
15. Okay. All right. Blazenar, you can see this spellcaster priest casting, moving their hands, and you reach over and you grab their hands right near the end of their spell, and it absolutely interrupts the spell as they're stopped, and they realize that you are right there, and the spell sort of fizzles and pops out of their
And I
out of
say-
their hands.
Not today, friend.
And right at that same moment, Ulian, you appear at the end of your spell, as you say the sort of last remaining words, and the man with the sword, who draws his sword immediately, starts to float up into the air as he looks immediately surprised and off balance by it. What does it look like for you to cast this spell?
So
I guess they can't
go-
see any of it. What does the end of it look
Well,
like?
the end of it looks, because I did this with my arms, like I was swan diving or something, and I come up with the arms again, and I go like, to the sky.
This guy.
So they hear the to the sky as he draws his sword, but then sort of winds up off balance as he starts to lift sort of slowly into the air, not super slowly, but not crazy fast either. And everybody roll initiative. And I think we've been doing D10s for initiative, haven't we?
Oh.
Or
No.
have we been doing D20s?
D20s.
Okay.
17.
Well, plus my 0 to initiative, that's a 3.
Oh,
I got an 8.
all right. I think.
Did I get so thrown off by what? What am I intimidated by his flailing sword? I don't understand.
Blazenar, you're going to get a chance to go first. So the spellcaster who's next to you, who I'll just call the cleric, has interrupted with the spell, and you still have them grappled.
Right. I know enough about clerics to know that they need a symbol. A divine symbol. Is that true, DM?
Yes.
I try to take his divine symbol away from him.
He doesn't have one on his hands.
Oh.
So you don't have to hold a divine symble so long as you
Just
have
has to
it
be
somewhere.
Somewhere.
Yeah,
Could
it
be-
usually it can't be like in a pocket. So you suspect since they are not holding a divine symbol, it might mean that there's one on their armor.
Right. Like it could
Which
just
is the
be
other way
like
to do it.
part of the armor, right?
Right.
Just like blaze.
So you could also have it like on a shield or have it engraved into your weapons or something like that is a way to do it too.
Okay. I mean, I don't know what sort of house rules I want to have for this, but I want to put his robe over his head and push him down so that he needs an action to, he'll lose an action of some sort. I don't want him just to lose a move action. I don't want him to actually lose a whole action if that's possible.
Yeah, I'll let you essentially give up your action to make an attempt to make them lose their action.
Yeah.
I think that seems like a fair trade. Give me a second grapple check. You're basically just trying to pull their robes over their head and shove them.
Okay.
So give me a second grapple check for that.
Oh wow, even higher, 25.
All right. I think you are successful. So describe that for me, and then they get pushed to the ground.
Yeah, I go through his legs and then I flip his robe over his head, and then I give him I put my foot in front of his knee and then I push, a judo kind of push, and I say, "As I said, not today." and then I say, and then I look up to the two compadres and I say, "Let's make eel."
Let's make eel.
Awesome. That's going to make it the paladin's turn. The guy who's floating up in the air is sort of trying to flail about. His arms and legs are flailing as he sort of drifts like a balloon floating up into the air. And he is going to take out his sword and hold it up in the air and then bring it down. And as he does so, your spell ends, Ulian, and he comes plummeting back down in a controlled sort of dive back to the earth. And his sword slices into the ground with a clattering sound. And at that clattering sound, you hear a very familiar shh and hissing noise come from further up. It seems to be getting louder and louder. But it comes down and he digs into the stonework of the ground and then pulls his sword up. And he says in sort of a quiet, gruff voice, "You do not know who you are messing with. The order will not stand for you to stand in our way."
Remind me of the name of the librarian.
Marion.
Marion. Okay.
And that makes it Gerkus' turn. Gerkus, he's now next to you. As he sort of plummeted back down, he landed next to you.
Is he next to me in that if I kept moving, I would get an attack of opportunity against me?
Yes.
Okay.
If you kept just walking casually forward, you could use your action to disengage, which would then you sort of more carefully step away from him if you wanted to keep moving out.
So what I would like to do is I would like to use a key point to do Step of the Wind. which means I can spend 1 key point to take the disengage action as a bonus action on my turn. So I'm going to pretend like this doesn't bother me at all, and I'm going to keep walking, kind of like nod at him, and then do like a little twirl, like a little kickball change twirl thing, and keep walking. And then I'm immediately going to turn down the closest, like, out of sight hallway of books, if I can, and then break into a full sprint and put the books that I'm holding in my hands on one of the bookshelves, so they kind of blend in with the rest of the books. And then I'm going to circle back around to the guy to try to get a jump on him, so that he thinks that I'm just like walking out the door, continuing my pathway, and then I actually drop the books and circle back around.
Okay, cool. I like it. I guess I'll make this like a sleight of hand check. You don't need to make a check for getting away from him because you used your step of the wind, but we'll give you a sleight of hand check for seeing how well you can sort of drop the books off stealthily.
14.
Awesome. That is pretty good.
So I slide them right in so they look like they could blend in with any of the other books.
Yeah, you slide them right in with the other books on the shelf, and you circle back around. You're pretty certain that he will be pursuing after you down that hall. So you'll have a chance. You're sort of hidden from him right now.
Can I make that circle? How long is the book? Can I make the circle back around to get him in the back, like to run around and?
You'd have to wait for his turn so that he can chase after you.
Gotcha.
Or you have enough movement with your step of the wind. You have enough movement that you could circle all the way around and then like punch him in the face right now.
That's what I was hoping to do.
Yeah. You won't get him in the back. You won't get the surprise on him because you basically like bolted away from him and then circled back around.
Got it.
So you won't get the surprise on him, but you can.
But I dropped the books. The books are hidden. Hopefully, that was my goal.
Yeah,
cool.
Exactly.
Then I'm gonna come back around, and hopefully he's like confused about me walking away from him, and then I just show up right away and punch him back. So there's like a moment where he thinks that I'm gone, and then I come back around and get him in the face with an unarmed strike.
I like it. Give me an unarmed strike against.
Is this against
18.
the paladin?
Yeah, this is.
It's the guy with a sword who was floated up and then like the thunder smashed down. 18 to hit.
And 18 does not hit the paladin.
What? Okay, I'm gonna leave. Let's get out of here. Time to make heal.
You used most of your movement to do all of that. So you can maybe take a step away from him as well, so you're not necessarily right in melee range, but you can't really leave any further after that. Your attack hits armor, and he's wearing robes, and so you like bring in a heavy attack, but it slams into his armor and doesn't feel too effective. And you can tell he's wearing some really heavy armor underneath those robes.
Now I regret putting those books on the bookshelf.
Well,
Since now you can't run away.
the fates must have meant it to happen.
There are no coincidences.
Ulian, that's going to make it your turn. You are now behind the paladin.
So the dude with the robe over his head, is he lost a turn basically?
Yeah, essentially. It actually hasn't gotten... He also rolled a super low initiative, so it hasn't even gotten to him yet.
I just thought I was the last. Okay, cool. So I'm going to do two things. First of all, I'm probably going to yell first and then then cast. So I'm first going to yell. I'm going to yell... Marion, these people are stealing books and not letting us read, or something like that. Yeah. So I'm like, Marion, these people are stealing books and not letting us read.
Awesome.
And as I'm yelling that, and I'm going to cast a spell.
Okay. What's the spell you're casting? We'll resolve
The spell, I'm going to do Ray of Frost. It's one of my cantrips on the paladin.
Awesome. Go ahead and roll me an attack roll for the Ray of Frost, as that's sort of how it works. You like point your finger in it. You get
What
to
do
use
I
your
roll?
spell.
Like the D20
and you add your spell attack bonus.
that's the +7. Okay, got it. Okay, 18.
And 18 is not going to hit the paladin. But in this case, your Ray of Frost does freeze his robes, which are going to shatter under the cold from the Ray of Frost.
Okay.
So you shout what you shouted, and Marion once again sort of shushes and hisses as you shout, and then you can hear some noises that you think are her getting up and grumbling. So you think she's probably headed in your direction. And then you shoot your ray of frost, and it slams into the paladin's back, and his robes crinkle and freeze over, and then shatter around him. And now you can see he is wearing a full set of plate mail. And in addition to the sword that he has another dagger that is attached to his waist, and his plate mail is emblazoned across it with a really beautifully etched symbol of Istis. And the back of his plate mail actually has a beautifully etched sword kind of stretching down the back of the plate mail as well.
By the way, when I shot the ray of frost, I went, chill out.
You become
So
Arnold
it's like
Schwarzenegger.
an Arnold Schwarzenegger line.
Yeah. I want to impale him on a spike and say, stick around.
I'm going to cast a cancer spell. You have a tumor.
Ridiculous. I'm going to put an Arnold Schwarzenegger character with a big knife, and he's going to say,
Oh, next campaign.
get to the chopper.
But your knife.
Yeah.
The chopper.
What if all three of us were Arnold Schwarzenegger?
We just do an Arnold Schwarzenegger campaign. So we'll do that
And
for a one-off.
we keep locking arms, greeting each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice to see you again. Oh yeah, nice to see you again.
Yeah, yeah. You're pushing too many
Pushing too many
pencils.
pencils.
Yeah. As long as one of your names is Billy, we'll be good. Billy!
Kill me. All right, no. As you, the cleric finally pulls the robes off of his head. And he looks very upset that you have done this to him, Blazenar. And he does have to sort of stumble back to his feet, and he pulls like a mace out from under that was attached to his belt that he now has, and he's now sort of facing off against you, Blazenar. He looks very, very upset, and his cheeks are red. You suspect he's pretty embarrassed by you getting the pull over, literally the pull over him. And that basically is his whole turn. So, Blazenar, that makes it your turn.
I say, as I said, it's time to make eel, and I just bolt. I take my dash action, and
So
I run.
he's right next to you. So you can disengage.
Yeah.
You can totally do that. And I think you can do that as a bonus action.
Yeah, I can do disengage bonus, and then I can take another dash, so I'm like...
Nice. You're just going to take off.
Yeah. But I look at my
awesome.
compadres, I say, as I said, it's time to make eel later.
Can I tell him where I put the books in like a... You must
can't-
know where to fish for eels. Before
You know
you
what?
can...
I'll
Cook
let
eel.
this be a I'll let this be a roll.
I mean, I guess I would have seen he didn't have the books on him, right?
I think you would see that.
What'd
I
be
don't
hilarious
think
is
that hint tells you anything.
what'd be hilarious is if Girkas's hint is terrible, but you know, Blazenar's smart.
I know that's sort of what I was thinking. Blazenar, why don't you give me a
Insight?
insight check? Yeah, and if you roll really high, I'm
20.
gonna let you get this one. Natural 20.
No, 16 plus 4.
That's what it's. You know what I'll do? Girkas, roll persuasion.
Persuade. That's a +3 on that. That is an 18.
Man. All right. Yeah. Girkas, you say.
You must know where to fish for eels
So what do I divine from
before
that?
you can cook the eels.
I mean, I guess I could... I mean, I guess I would know he dropped the book somewhere
You-
on his route, and so
You
I...
can tell he doesn't have the books. You can gather that he must have dropped them somewhere, and you are right next to the travel section that he was.
So I try
perusing
to
before,
I try to
so-
follow his route, and
only-
I'm just scanning. But I want to get out. Is the
But there's only one problem. Does Blazenar know there were 2 books?
well, I would have seen. I saw the 2 of you.
saw the
Did you see
two.
that Girkas had
Yeah, I
2
saw the
books
2
in his
of you
hand?
rummaging with things.
Okay.
I don't know what detail I
I-
saw.
Just grab the whole section of books.
I think you know there are 2 books, but you don't know what the other book is. So you can assume the one that you know the title of.
Yeah.
So you're sort of scanning for that one, but you don't know what the title was of the other book.
So if
So
I
you know
find
that
the
there was
book,
a
I'm just
second
going to
book.
grab like the
Like
three
the
books
whole
around it.
section that was
Yeah.
that was there.
God bless me if the Medusa finds me.
Yeah, and along those lines, you're bolting. They cannot stop you. The cleric even tries to take a swipe at you, but you are gone long before the cleric could hit you. But the Medusa is going to see you making your way out. As you sort of round the corner, you see the book that you're looking for and several books around it. You just grab a whole stack of books. So you now have a whole stack of books under your arms.
Yeah.
I'll point out that Ulian just said that some people were attacking and stealing books.
But she saw
So
us
as you
together.
come rounding the corner, the librarian, looking very angry, rounds the corner as well and sees you running with a handful of books that you are making your way out of the library with. And the librarian immediately points her finger at you with her other hand on her glasses. And she says, drop the books and stay quiet or you'll become a permanent part of the library.
So can I avert my gaze?
Yeah, I mean, you can try to and keep running.
How far away is she from me?
She's maybe 20 feet, but you've used up most of your movement kind of going. You won't make it far past her. You can probably make it like next to her this turn.
Could
but
I
you won't
turn
make it far
around?
past her.
Can I go? I don't know the layout of this library, but can I go a direction where no one can see me and I can jump through a window?
Oh, interesting.
Can I
There's
Can I
no-
just turn around, and run out a window?
There's no windows that aren't super high up in the air. All the light kind of comes up through like stained glass, kind of higher up in the air, or is lit from non-flammable light sources that are sort of around the library. But the library is just winding shelves that go in every direction. So while you couldn't necessarily escape from the library, you could dive down yet another path.
Yeah. That's what I do.
Chances are really good the Medusa is now chasing you down a labyrinth of a library.
Yeah.
But that would at least keep you from being turned to stone right at this moment.
Yeah, that's what I do. And
All right.
I'm trying to pocket these books in my backpack or something. I'm trying to stow them.
So you're not carrying a big
Well,
stack
as
of
I'm
books?
moving, I'm trying to. I need my hands free eventually, so I'm going to try and stow them somewhere on me if I can.
Okay. I mean, I think you have a backpack, so you can probably stuff all the books into your backpack.
Okay.
I think you're getting started on that, but you'll need to spend a little time doing that in your next turn as well.
Okay.
Awesome. That makes it the
And I
paladin's turn.
let out a squeal. I actually scream. I mean, Medusas. I've never seen one before. I've heard of them. I've seen pictures. This is frightening. This is awful.
Yeah.
She's pretty terrifying.
Yeah.
You scream and then sort of backpedal your feet and then take off into another direction down a hallway. And she screams after you, shh, as your scream is a little too loud. She seems just as angry about the loudness as she does about the stealing the books. That makes the paladin's turn. The paladin turns around to you, Gierkus, and he is going to... he is going to say...
Did we ever take any rests?
No.
I'm just realizing that I have 5 hit points.
Oh my god.
This is gonna be a little rough. Actually, you guys did stop at the sandwich shop or whatever.
Yeah,
the,
should we
rat-
take- could we
the rat
take-
shop.
could
So
we
you
call
you
that
can
a
take
short
a short
rest?
rest? Yeah.
Short rest.
So you can regain whatever you would have regained on a.
So
on
Berto,
a
I think
short
you
rest.
get one spell. If I'm
I get
not
one
mistaken.
spell back.
So if you
Yeah.
click on short rest, you see that?
Oh yeah.
It
Shoot,
might even
get away.
indicate to you what. So you're a 5th level wizard.
So that's where wait, I just saw it. Reaction other. There it is. So there's Arcane Recovery.
Yeah.
That one says once per day when you finish a short rest, you can choose expended spell slots to recover, up to a combined level of 3.
So you can basically
take,
recover 1 third-level spell slot.
or 1, 1, and 1, 2.
Or 3
Right.
level ones, I guess.
Yeah,
But I can recover one nice.
right. One nice
Fireball,
fireball.
for example.
Yeah.
Okay, so do I just unclick a slot
Yeah, yes, unclick.
Yep.
in the UI? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, and then hit points. I had my hit point. Maybe I hadn't done this right. Like I had my hit points at max.
So
Yeah,
you can.
you didn't
oh,
get
maybe you
injured,
weren't
I don't
hurt.
think.
Oh, I didn't get injured. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just rolled very low and used up all my hit point. All my hit dice. I have 15 hit points. I guess I'm back to half, but I rolled lots of ones right there on my hit dice. But I'm still feeling confident.
That's rough. I just
I
realized
have
that
confidence
you've been
in
walking around
sunshine.
all day with like bruises and wounds all over you, like
But flexing.
That's just been so it's flexing.
Right?
Doesn't bother Gerkus.
Nope.
5
Chicks
hit
think
points from
scars.
death doesn't
Yeah.
bother Gerkus. The paladin is going to say kneel, and he says so in a tone that makes you feel like you need to do it. Go ahead and roll me a wisdom saving throw.
Wisdom saving throw gets me a whopping 8.
You drop to the ground and kneel. You feel compelled to do so. This is clearly a spell, not.
Is this like a double knee on the ground, kneel?
I think
like
it's
I'm at
one knee
church,
down.
or is it like a bowing, like I'm bowing to a king or something?
I think it's like one knee down, so it's a little bit more like you're bowing to a king. But then he
That's so
raises his
offensive.
sword, and he's going to make an attack on you that he now has advantage on because you are kneeling on the ground. So, what's your armor class?
15.
Never a good question.
Okay, that's a lot of dice.
Whoa!
A lot of dice.
You are
being
not
rolled
the
there.
only one suffering from ones.
Oh.
He only
good.
does. What is that? He does 7 damage to you,
Oh my gosh,
is
that could have
even
been
way
so
worse.
lethal.
which is
That many
way.
rolls.
He rolled 3 ones and a 2 on his 6s. So that could have been way
The
worse.
fates are in our favor.
As he brings
There
his
are
sword,
no coincidences.
as he brings his sword down, it slashes against you, and there is a blazing flash of light as he does so. For the smite that he brought down upon you. Gerkus, that makes it your turn.
It is my turn again. Okay, so I'm kneeling. Can I break out of the kneel now, or is it?
It's half your movement to stand up, so you can totally stand up.
I'm not gonna move. I'm gonna turn my standing up from the kneel into a full-on like to the throat uppercut.
Nice.
Hadouken!
Yeah, full on. If I could, in fact, spin and have flames around my hand at the same time, so I could do a full on. I'm like sort of
You
in the
do that.
Ryu right now, so
And
can
you got
actually.
like laser beams you can shoot from your hand, so
Yeah.
I don't see why you couldn't
gonna do
have
a
flames
full-on-
coming out. That's
Full
awesome.
on Ken, flaming sure you can, yeah.
Yeah. Well, give me an attack roll with your unarmed strike, and we'll resolve the rest of it from there.
24.
Whew, that's gonna hit.
Okay, that is good. Finally, can actually hit somebody. So the damage that I do that first time is 5.
Awesome.
But I am, if I can, use a key point for a flurry of blows to do 2 more attacks.
You can totally do that.
Excellent. Well, I critical failed the next one.
Oh no. Okay.
I need to get new dice.
Roll your third attack, and we'll resolve the critical.
You say that every time we play. Is it the same dice or is it?
It's digital dice, actually, which is part of the problem, I think.
That's totally
the next
I
attack
gotta
is
bring you
16.
your real dice.
16, which I know doesn't work. I have real dice. I just like it does the math for me.
I gotta bring you the good dice.
Oh, I have really good dice. Really cool blue sandstone, very beautiful dice. It's just math. Well, the next one's 16, which I know doesn't hit.
So we'll blame the third hit on the critical failure. I'm gonna give you an option. You can trip and give advantage to his next attack, or you can hurt yourself with your own attack.
Can I do a little description?
Yeah, either way
So
you can do a
the
description.
first time I want to give him like an awesome uppercut, and then I want to try to punch with my left hand, and then I want him to grab it, and then do like a Superman and Zod thing where he like crushes my hand, and I have to like drop down. So I'll take the trip, I guess. Like
Okay, yeah.
he'll,
Sweet,
like-
I love it. You do, and the uppercut is solid. He reels back from the uppercut, and when you come around for the next blast, he grabs your fist with his armored gauntlet, and crushes. And you can tell this guy is as strong as you are, Gerkus. And he's holding you steady, and he sort of was slouched down after your blow, but he kind of stands tall and pushes you back down to the ground. And he goes, "I said kneel."
Before Zod. Yeah, that's exactly what I pictured. Awesome. I mean, it's terrible as that is for me.
turn.
That's awesome.
So did you take damage, or has he got advantage?
I'm just
He's
down
got
on the
advantage. Yeah. So the paladin has advantage on his next attack.
Okay, so it's my turn, right? Okay, so I'm going to try to double down on my hopeful strategy here. I'm going to, again, do two things. I'm going to yell again for Marion. So I'm going to say, like, Marion, please help us! Stop him! And at the same time, I'm going to cast a big old... Oh, wait, I can't cast a fireball here, right? We'll all burn.
No, you have shape, so you can hurt whoever you want to hurt.
Yes, but you can't avoid the books.
The books are going to burn. Ooh.
So you can shape it to avoid your teammates, but there are too
wait.
many books around you.
I got it.
To
I got it. So I just
burning
yelled at
some of the
Marion.
books.
I
Yeah.
just yelled at Marion, and now I say to him, and do I have any sort of let's see, this, minor illusion, prestidigitation. Well, I was trying to. I'm going to tell him one more move, and I will burn the books.
So you can ready an action, or you can cast prestidigitation to like cast fire to come out of your thumbs. You know what I mean?
Right. Or I could do. I know what I do. Okay, great. But here's what minor illusion. Minor illusion can look at something like I can make the books appear in thin air, right? Like I can make it look like I have the books.
Yep.
Yeah. You could make it
Okay.
look like you have the books.
All right. So I'm going to cast a spell where it's minor illusion, where I throw the two books down on the ground, and I have my spell at the ready, my fireball, and I tell him, so I say, one more move, and I will burn the books.
Super interesting. All right.
And I just called for Marion. So.
Yeah. I think. Okay.
Sorry, by the way, cantrips. Do I get unlimited cantrips,
Yep,
or what's the deal?
unlimited.
Okay.
You can. Yeah. You don't need to mark spell slots for those. You can also. You can be readying the fireball, but you can also make it look like fire's coming out of your hands, just as a part of the minor illusion. The only thing you can't do, just so you know, is you can't make both sound and image at the same time with minor illusion. So you're making you throw the books on the ground, but you're not making any noise with it. And that you could totally do that, like you put them down
Stomp
gently,
on
and
the-
then,
okay.
or you stop.
Fine.
Or you stop. Yeah, that's perfect. You
I
stomp
as I put
the
them
books
down.
hit.
But
and then
there's no
you're holding
sound
it
from
in
my
your hands, yeah.
fireball, so I'm just like, it looks
Right.
flamey.
So you're pulling that all up, and I will totally let you ready the action so that you are ready with a fireball as well. I'll give the paladin a chance to have a reaction to this before the cleric's turn, and the paladin sort of turns to you, and you see him hold up his hand, and he goes, "No!" And he clearly is sort of dropping his guard as he's now facing you. But the cleric who is next to you is going to try to make it an
Yeeks.
attack on you. Oh no! Okay. The cleric rolled a 1.
Yes! There are no coincidences.
The cleric is trying
that's
to
awesome.
tackle you to stop you from burning the books. The cleric is also
Yeah, right.
fooled by the books. So the cleric dives out from the shelving. and I'll let you pick this one. Do you want the cleric can either like you just step out of the way and the cleric kind of dives past you, or I think the you can let the cleric, or you can gain an advantage on the cleric. He dives past you, he misses you, but you can gain an advantage on him.
And an advantage means what in the next turn?
I think I'll let it be you have advantage on your next attack against him, or he has disadvantage on the next spell you cast against him.
Yeah. No, I want
So
him to get
either he's
hurt.
knocked down, or
I want him to get. Yeah, I want him to like fully like fall on his face.
Okay, great.
So I see him. So basically, I see him, and I just move a little bit.
Yeah, he dives through the air and then slams into the ground, slides across the stone flooring into some of the
Can we have
tables
the
and
paladin
chairs.
be like, oh, jeez.
Yeah. He sort of rolls his eyes at this cleric who has just botched everything. That makes it the cleric. That's the end of the cleric's turn.
You could say that
which
his robe
means-
was kind of caught in his boot or something from falling down earlier, and it screwed up his dive in this moment.
Yeah, I love that. I love that idea. He's still. It's basically like his shoes are tied because the robe is like caught up in both shoes, and now he dives forward and slides across the ground. That's perfect.
What's funny is maybe I didn't even miss him on purpose. Like, I just like, as I'm doing my illusion or whatever, I stand back, like I'm like, I'll do it, I'm gonna do it. And so as I lean back, that's when he dashes right in front of me.
It's wholly on accident.
Yeah.
Just in Magoo style.
As you shout it out, Marion's attention is drawn by both you and the crashing armored cleric to the ground, and she turns her attention away from Blazenar and chasing Blazenar. And so then she heads towards all of you, and she turns the corner, seeing all of you in this kerfuffle that is happening here, and she shouts, now fully looking at all of you, and she has taken her glasses off, and she shouts at all of you and says, "Enough! Leave now without your books, or become part of a permanent exhibit."
Yeah.
Bringing kind of everything to a screeching halt.
So I hear that.
Yep. Blazenar, it is your turn.
So I stuff all the books into the bag,
Yeah.
and I also grab I have a very makeshift fast disguise kit that I have just for occasions like this.
Oh, perfect.
It's
It's just
wig.
glasses with a mustache and a wig.
It's a floppy wig with a weird hat and a brand new cloak, and I'll say like a mustache something. It's just something that I can put on like real. It doesn't look good. It doesn't pass scrutiny if you're up close at all.
Yeah.
But I've done this, in my 111 years. This I've needed this.
This has gotten you out of
This
a
is a
lot of
classic.
tights.
This is called the Blazenar, is literally what this move is. This move is called.
It's called The Next Morning. Just joking.
Yeah.
And I'll do my deception check, and I got a 10, which isn't great.
Okay.
But then I just stroll my way out the front door.
You're just going to whistle and sort of start making your way out.
Yeah.
From where you are, you can see the mess that Ulian and Gerkas are in.
Out of the corner of my eye.
Yeah. As you're sort of strolling your way out the door.
I mean, I honestly in my head. So I see it, and I'm just like, oh my god. I mean, the Medusa, the two armored guy. I'm like,
Save the books. Save the world.
Can they see me at all? Can it do? Or
I think everyone's attention is pulled to the Medusa that is apparently about to do something really terrible to everybody. So that is totally where everybody's focuses are, and you look nonchalant and out of the way, and not like you belong to any of this. So,
and there's no like other entrance that is near them.
No,
There's one way out of this place, and I just walk out. And then as soon as I get outside, I hide and I try to look inside to see if I can see what's happening.
In that case, it is the paladin's turn, and the paladin is the paladin's still holding this and has like lowered his sword so that because he's telling Ulian to stop.
Ulian not to, yeah.
And then he turns his sword towards the Medusa and says, "This is not your concern, witch."
Oh.
I need everybody to make me Constitution saving throws. Oh, not Blaznar. Sorry. Blaznar, you're totally fine
Yeah, I knew.
outside.
I knew it was.
Yeah.
I mean, I presumably was aware of my own plan, so I probably was in the process of closing my eyes and stuff.
Ulian, I'll give you. Actually, we'll give a role play moment here. Ulian, I'll give you advantage on the saving throw, and if you can think of a way in which you would give a hint to Gerkas,
Okay.
that you can give him advantage on his roll as well.
Okay. So first of all, okay. So I'll tell you what I got in a second, but so I okay. So what happens is that let's see. As I was doing the illusion, because presumably Gerkas is fooled by my illusion as well, right? So he thinks I'm doing this for real.
Well, I know where the books are.
Yeah, because he was the one who
of
hid the
course.
books.
So he knows that
he
it's
knows
his
that
fate.
those are not the real
Right.
books.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Man, I don't know. I guess I will say. Oh, okay. I would have said to Gerkas. I would have said like. All right. I would say. When I eat snake, I always close my eyes, or something like that. Let me think. So I'd say like, yeah. I love the taste of snake. That is why I close my eyes as I eat it.
Do you speak a language that only he can speak?
Let's see.
Draconic,
this is
maybe?
tricky.
I do speak Draconic.
Does Gerkas know any other languages?
No, I do. But I know several languages, but not that.
Draconic?
I know.
Okay.
Do you know
what is the
Celestial?
rest of it? Yes.
I speak Celestial.
Yes. Would I know this?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Wait, I'm trying to find
Gotta
where
flip a
the,
coin or something, huh? See how that
features
would've
and
come up in conversation.
traits. Features and traits. Or where are the languages
On the
listed?
front page, the lower left.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay. Celestial, Common, Elvish, Primordial, and Vedalken. So Celestial would be the common one. The one in common between us.
So
But would
I
have
guess
known
it's up
that?
to the DM to decide if.
Would I know that these creatures, or do these creatures generally know Celestial, or just you know Celestial?
It is because of the power of my golden fists.
I will say that you're taking a stab in the dark, but I'll say in this case you can use Celestial. You really don't know whether or not he would know Celestial, but you're making an educated guess.
What does Celestial sound like? Do we know?
The angels.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Celestial's like
so
the
I'm,
language
as I'm
of the
doing the illusion, I look at at Gerkas and I go, Elia,
Which means
Elia, which means close your freaking eyes.
I will respond in Celestial and say thank you.
Hero of the Requiem.
Gerkas, you close your eyes, giving you advantage on the save as well.
I got a 15.
Okay.
So I got a 14 on the best one.
Oh man, so lucky. Okay.
Really?
You both succeed to save,
Oh my gosh, I didn't think I.
and both the paladin and the cleric failed.
Oh my gosh! Yes.
The cleric is immediately turned to stone.
Yes.
And the paladin is not turned to stone, but is petrified, immediately frozen, giving the two of you a chance to bolt for it.
Bolt.
Is he still have my hand in his hand?
Yeah, I think you can kind of like rip your hand out
Cool.
of
So-
his grip.
So, I Okay, like Garrikus, are you ready to leave? Because I'm ready to leave. But so I'm like,
Yeah.
let's go.
I think knowing that I probably would want to stay and fight these guys, but knowing that there's literally a Medusa turning people to stone to become, as she has oft said,
Right.
permanent exhibits in the library, I think it would be time to get out. I am going to circle back to the place to make sure Blaze got the books, though.
And
You can do it kind of on your way out, so you can just run down that.
Does the Medusa see the fake books on the ground?
She sees them. I think she would see them vanish as you leave.
Oh, well, no, but before I leave. Oh, but she would see them vanish. Right.
Yeah,
So never mind.
'cause they're-
I was
'cause they're
thinking like
an
it'd be like, "There's the books. We're leaving," but that wouldn't work because you'll see them disappear.
Yeah, I mean, I think she like angrily shouts at you as you're leaving, and says, "Stop!
Or maybe
Pay
when
your
I do
fees!"
with my eyes down and my hands up, I go like, "We don't have the book. We don't have no books," or something. You know, like, "We have no books.
We don't
Worry
have
not
no
about us.
books."
We have no books."
She still says stop, but you don't stop.
Okay,
You-
we're
you
just
keep-
like,
you keep
I'm like,
running out.
"Woo!" I'm shaking my head. We have no books. We have no books.
And the two of you are able to bolt your way outside.
I'll bring
meeting
back
up
the
with
other books. I promise.
Blazenar. You can see Ulian and Gerkas making their way, diving their way outside.
I say,
coming
oh,
after
you finally agreed to follow my advice of making eel later. How fantastic of you two.
And that's where we'll end for the day. So with that, we'll do our tradition of a spotlight for somebody else. We'll go around and do that before we bring things to a close. Who wants to start us off?
I'll do Davis. I like his ingenuity plan and how it didn't go right. And he was like, well, okay, I guess Birdo too. And that he was, screaming for the Medusa and then it ended up backfiring. I like when people try to play around with the storyline or the actions, if you will, try to think outside the box instead of just swinging your hammer around, So when Adam Davis was like, okay, I'm going to do this, then I'm going to put the books here, come back around. And then later on, just his face is like, oh, crap. Now I wish I hadn't have done that.
Should have run away. Should have done the Blazenar.
Mine is Blazenar Kirk when he's like, hey, some people just ran out with the Book of Fates. I just thought that was great because, like, it's sort of a great movie moment where the character does something so unexpected and like, wait, why would you tell? Oh my gosh, no, you're giving away all your cards right now. But it like sort of works, and I just thought that was great. It was, and I could also see that character Blazenar being like, some people just ran out with the Book of Fates, like crazy. It's like a total Hail Mary. I will also point out that, man, when today started, I was feeling really in the dark. I'm like, I don't know what we're supposed to be doing. And then I was trying to role play like I knew what was up because he's supposed to be like, like haughty and like, yeah, I know what's up. But he doesn't and I don't. And I'm like, what are we going to do? And I started feeling like, oh, this is not going to end well. Like, I think we're lost here. Like, I totally forgot about the book of recipes and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, oh, man. But by the end of this thing, this was one of my favorites so far. Because so many funny things happen and we got to do so many like creative things that sort of worked by accident because we got super lucky. That's the other thing.
My spotlight, I think, is going to go to Ulian and the bluff of the burning the book. It was like sort of to build on what Kirk was saying around like thinking outside the box. I like that moment because we were kind of outmatched with those two. I can only imagine if Blaze hadn't got rid of the other two, it would have been very much call the Medusa. That's the only solution to this because clearly we were outmatched. So it was nice that I like that moment because you were clearly thinking we're not going to win this, punches to faces. We're going to win this by, distracting them and getting out of here and calling in reinforcements. There's lots of good moments today in that way.
Yeah, I think in my character's head, I was like, I mean, I want to follow Blazonar's lead. I just don't know how I can do that. And plus, since I've spent so much time in this library, I was pretty sure I had heard all these rumors about and I'm like, I hope it's true. I hope it's true. I didn't know how close I came to being frozen, though. That's crazy.
I'm gonna shout out John's as well. That in the beginning of today, as you said, Berto, it was like, oh God, what are we doing? This is truly like a mystery. I'm like totally stumped. And for a DM, that's a tough position to be in because you know what you want them to do, but you just sat back, you just let it happen. If it's going to be a true mystery story, which this is, there have to be moments where us as players are just like, we have no idea what, it's sort of like doing a escape room thing, right?
Totally.
Yeah, the people walk in there, and when you first walk into escape rooms, you're just like, and you don't want the person running in there and be like, oh, well, start here, because then it ruins it, right? You need that tension of, well, we truly don't know what we're supposed to be doing for it to feel good when we finally figure out what we're supposed to be doing.
I will say this, though. I've played with Adam a lot, and I can I know his tells, and he as much as he leaned back and let us do whatever we wanted to do, he was also very, very subtly guiding that path. I won't tell you what his tells are, but I've been playing with Adam Johns for like 7 years.
Very well done, though.
8
Very
years,
well done.
something like that. And like it's masterfully executed in these moments where you feel like you made all those choices, but I saw the breadcrumb right there. I'm like, okay.
Well,
supposed to go to the library.
I was sitting there trying to guess because, again, obviously I've now been through one campaign with you, and I was very impressed. But it was very different. Like, it was a very different campaign, and my choices as a character were a lot simpler generally. Mm-hmm. So I was sitting there going, like, I want to do the right thing. Part of it was like, I don't want to be dumb and not get what the hell this mystery is. So what is going on? But still I have to be in character. But so that's why I was like, well, we got to go check the burned room. And then when I think Blazenar was like, I don't think there's anything. I'm like, oh, but maybe we still have to check the burnt room. Because I'm like, there's something we're supposed to be getting here. And I totally had forgotten that. Yeah. I totally forgot about the book. So I'm glad, Blazenar, you must have written that down or remembered. Because that was obviously a key thing.
So there is a thing that Adam and I often talk about that is an important thing to often avoid in Dungeons and Dragons games, which is that the game master shouldn't use riddles. Riddles are a thing where you say, here's the phrase, and then there's a specific answer to that phrase. And the problem with a riddle is that your players will either figure it out immediately or they will have no idea. And there's no middle ground, so it becomes very difficult to make that. And you can't hand the answer to them because handing the answer to them will make them feel like they failed to actually figure it out on their own. They won't feel a sense of success of actually having solved the riddle. And so they're dangerous. I wouldn't say that no GM should use riddles, but they're a risky move often as a GM because you don't know whether or not you're handing the player something that they have no ability to figure out, or whether or not you're handing them something that they're going to solve immediately, and you're not going to get any real challenge or struggle with it. Making a mystery like this, I mentioned early on in this podcast that whatever we were creating here was going to be really hard to game master. That's what this is. So doing a mystery like this requires you to be stumped enough that you feel like it's a mystery and you don't know what the things are, but also to lay enough clues and enough groundwork so that you can start to put things together on your own. And it is a real challenge. Really fun to do the planning for, really fun to set up and see how you do it. And of course, all of you, my spotlight today is just going to go across the board, that every one of you made choices that I was 100% not expecting, and then really had to sit there and go, oh man, what am I going to do to that? Sometimes verbally out loud throughout the podcast, I'm sure, but even in the moments where I wasn't saying that, where I was going, oh no, that's a brilliant idea, and that should totally work. And I have no idea how to actually resolve that and still hold together the storyline that needs to progress.
I mean, as a DM, I like that within reason because it gives me a chance to really step inside the shoes of these NPCs. And
for sure.
Role play as well. It's like, okay, well, what would the Medusa be thinking right now? Mm-hmm. I know her motivations. I know her characters. So she heard that. What would she do? It's an interesting thought experiment.
and it's an interesting challenge. It is the in many ways the fun puzzle of GMing where you're going, yes, that's a great idea. I want to yes and what my players put forward, and give them a chance to really be creative and really do interesting creative things. But you also you want to respond how the Medusa would respond, right? Or give the boundaries of the world making sense as a part of that. So it's that interesting puzzle of how to make those pieces fit together in the right way. So I love that stuff, and I applaud all of you in your very creative thinking and your very creative problem solving. And sometimes really goofy, and that's really what makes it fun. That's really what I super enjoy. So big
One
thumbs
thing
up
I
to
was
everybody.
trying to role play because about my character is that which is really bizarre because he's a magician, so he does all these spells, but he's really skeptical of like he was saying, like he's skeptical of things that he reads about, and so part of me was thinking that to him the Medusa librarian was sort of a kind of a joke. Like he obviously doesn't listen to the rules because he's kept books that you fed me, but I was like, okay, I'll go with that. And then snakes, he loves snakes, so he's probably more like, oh man, I want to eat her hair, you know. But he's heard all these rumors, so part of him was probably curious, like, oh, I wonder. And then when this happens, he's like, oh, I hope it's real.
It worked out so well. Wow, frankly, like amazingly well. You rolled a 14. That was the saving throw.
Oh my god, dude.
And
Well, because it's funny, you gave me advantage, and I rolled a 12, and it's +1. I rolled a 12 and a 13. So
Hopefully,
close.
the Medusa is like the cruddy of this campaign,
It's gonna be the
And
love
it-
story.
and Ulian is just going to be getting closer and closer to being able to eat her hair.
He was salivating. I can
well,
prove
because
that.
you know that was part of because you know
You're
you
hoping
guys,
it was saliva.
Yeah.
you Kirk, you were like instantly sort of taken aback and a little bit afraid of the Medusa, whereas me, I was like looking at the snakes, going like, I want to eat the snake.
It slithers. It
and yet-
slimes.
Right. And yet, out of the three of us, I came this close to getting frozen.
I think there's something about the Medusa, which is, you know, historically a monster you would fight like in a cavern, sort of traditional Dungeons and Dragons monster, and in a Game to Grow game that's like she's a librarian. She's a outstanding member of a civil society.
I was picturing Monsters University, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Did you pick her because she hisses? Is that specifically why?
So yes and no. I actually picked her with the intent that she probably was going to get very upset about the noise, and she needed to be an imposing figure for when she comes in to yell at you about noise. That you would be willing to listen to her and not just think she's yet another librarian. So I needed something that would carry some weight to it.
Yeah. Well,
But
Lazenar felt the weight.
yeah, I didn't necessarily expect it to work out in that.
It was a great moment
fashion.
when your paladin NPC says, blah 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 woman or whatever, because I was like, oh, he's gonna get it. Oh, he's gonna get it.
Yeah, I actually gave him disadvantage on his roll too, because he was distracted with the book stuff that you had going on too. So that ended up also working out in your favor really well. I like it.
All right. Well, fun times. Any final words, Adam Johns, Adam Davis, Game to Grow stuff, this game stuff?
I will tell everybody. We get some messages sometimes about people who are just getting started with role playing games and just getting started with GMing. And I will tell you that whatever all the planning that we do, whatever all the work that we do, Adam and I have been doing this for a long, long time. I've been a game master for 25 years. Please don't be afraid to get started. It may not turn out like this game, but it will still be fun, and lean into the fun. Have a great time with it. That's the part that really matters. That's the part that everybody will remember at the end of the day is whether or not they had a fun time in your game. So I strongly encourage you to jump in and give it a try, and to really lean into having a good time with your friends.
only thing I'll say is that Gerkus still needs a family name. So I would like people to email me. You can email specifically PIS@gametogrow.org. That's PIS as in psychology in Seattle at gametogrow.org. Send me Gerkus's family name because I need to know what it is.
Yeah.
And call out to all artists. We have yet to have character art made of our characters. If you have a vision of what they would look like, especially the person who did the art last time, but really anybody, we need. And if it's great, then we'll make it the episode art that will go out there on the podcast and on the internet and everywhere. And so, drawing the three of us, particularly, it'd be cool if we were doing something cool, like the Medusa was there, or we're at the funeral, or whatever the situation is. That would be awesome. So you could email us that as well. All right, everybody, please take care of yourself out there. And when your partner says, let's leave, listen to him. Because
When he says it's time to make eel.
Because you deserve to get the hell out of there.